to the Exploding Heads Horror Movie Podcast, episode 190. I'm Dave Z, and I'm here as always with
Christian.
with Christian. That's great. I don't think I've ever heard you say your name like that in all these years. That's great.
I don't know what prompted me to say it like that, other than the only thing I could think of, which is not even really related at all, is when I was away this past week. For a few days, nothing crazy, but I got back later Friday night, which is a whole other thing. I got to tell a sad story as well. But anyway, I got back Friday night, but when we were waiting for a plane to board, it was like a pre-recorded message, which was all like friendly. It was like, so customers that are in zone 1, please head to gate 1. And it was like this demonic voice came on almost to say the gate 1, just not gate, but the number 1. And I was laughing so hard that the guy I was traveling with, he started laughing at it. We had like the people that were in the immediate line around us laughing at it because it was just so random. It's like this friendly message at the gate 1.
I bet he's doing it on purpose. He's making his friends at work laugh. He's making himself laugh. Probably, it's probably like an inside joke. 1. Kind of like the pilot.
It's a female voice giving all the information leading up to it, and she goes gate, and then it kicks into this, like I guess they have all this stuff pre-recorded, and then they just insert the 1 or gate 2 or gate 3. So the guy that said the gate that just says the numbers is the one that's having fun, but he's probably not even there to appreciate it.
Wow. Okay, wait a minute. Where are you at the airport or on a plane?
We're at the airport waiting at the gates to get on the plane. So we already know what gate we're at. But again, I guess they're doing the announcement saying, hey, we're ready to board at a specific gate. And so they'll say all the preliminary stuff and then say gate 1, which I'm going to keep repeating over and over again.
That's okay. Which airport is my question?
Oh, this was St. John's, Newfoundland.
Oh, so it's Canada. Okay, I didn't know for sure it was Canada.
Yeah.
No, that's not why, because I could have asked my wife, because she's in all the airports. I could have asked her to listen for this. That's all. Yeah. No, I'm not knocking Canada's airports. What do I know about them? Nothing. But, okay, just making sure, because I know sometimes you go to the States for, different flights and whatnot, so I don't know,
Yeah, no, this was Canadiana. And,
okay.
Yeah.
So wait, Newfoundland?
Newfoundland. It's
okay, which is
the most easternly province of Canada.
Oh.
So it's actually its own island, pretty much. It's a big island. They got hit. The west coast of Newfoundland got hit really hard with that hurricane a couple weeks back. Like 100 homes lost to sea.
Oh.
Like west into the ocean. It was devastating. It's horrible to see. And then on the east coast where we were, not during the hurricane, like just this past, they had like sun. I don't even think they got rain. That's just how drastic it could be, like on east and west coast, and just the way the path of the hurricane that came, Katrina or whatever it was up here. So, but yeah, beautiful, and they all talk with an accent, and I'm talking about like an accent. Like this is the accent. This is not the accent that like a boot and whatever like that, but it is predominantly an accent. So like when we go, they're like, "You're the one with the accent." And we're like, no, you're the one with the accent, but it's awesome to hear them talk. It's awesome to hear them talk. It's so infectious, and it's just amazing. You don't feel like you're in Canada. You really don't.
Well, it's probably the same when you go to freaking French Canada too. When you go to freaking Quebec.
Well, that's a different language. This is English. It almost feels like you are going to like the UK or something like that. Like again, they will argue it's not the same. It isn't the same. Like I don't want to offend anybody. It just is like, but it's so awesome to hear because you're there and it's so distinct. Like their phrasing is really unique too. So you get used to saying like, well, where's he to? Or where'd you put that to? That's how they phrase something. Yeah. They end it with, they don't even realize they're doing it because I said it's so cool to hear this because we know it's a quote unquote stereotype of phrasing, sentence structure, just of actual communication. You don't realize it, and they don't realize that they're doing it because it's just day-to-day communication. Hey,
that sounds like,
where'd you put those forms to? Hey, where'd you put my coffee to? Yeah.
Wow, that sounds like something you hear in the South out here. Where'd you put them corns to? You know what I mean? Doesn't it sound like the same type of thing? You make fun of the South. You kind of have your own South there with Newfoundland.
Yeah.
So wait a minute. Really quick, Nate, it's 7 provinces.
Yeah, we had this on here, and I failed miserably. So let's just go through them all because it's BC from the west to the east. BC,
not Bill Casanelli.
Not Bill Casanelli.
Not you,
BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, and Newfoundland, Labrador.
What do you say, PEI?
Yeah, Prince Edward Island. Anna Green Gables fans. Anna Green Gables fans would know where that is because it's
wow.
But anyway,
it's an official thing. PEI.
Yeah, in the province. The province is the size of like my town. Like it's a very small province. Yeah. So 10 provinces and then 3 territories. So the 3 territories are Yukon, Northwest Territories, and Nunavut.
Yukon Jack.
Yukon Jack.
Who is Yukon Jack? Does he come from Yukon?
I have no fucking clue. You're the one that just referenced it. You tell me.
It's something I always heard when I was young. Yukon Jack. Maybe it has to do with a drink or something.
It came from BC.
Well, we have a Yukon out here, but it's the University of Connecticut. They call it Yukon.
Wait a second. You can't have a Yukon. We have got a Yukon.
No,
you guys get mad at me with
University.
Oshawa.
No. University. The U and then CONN for Connecticut. So they call their school because they have, basketball and whatnot. Yukon. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Duke plays Yukon. You know what I mean? Yukon. But when I was a kid, I used to always hear Yukon, and I would always think it was YUKON, like Yukon. That's just the spelling I came up with. Is that the way they spell it? Yukon? Like Yukon Jack?
Like it's YUKON.
That's what I said.
Oh,
Yukon. Yeah. Okay. Yukon. Yeah. Hold on. I'm going to look up Yukon.
YOU. It's YU.
No, not YOU. I'm not fucking some moron here. Yukon. No, hold on. YUKON. Okay, Yukon Cornelius. Oh, I know who that is. That's fucking from, you know who that is.
Yukon Cornelius. Is that from a
you
movie?
know who that is. Nothing. You're going to be seeing it soon, I can tell you that much. It's going to be on your TV in the near future. Silver and gold. Gold and silver. Woohoo! Nothing. You don't know what the fuck. He's the guy. Yukon Cornelius is the guy from Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. The fucking guy. Bumbles bounce. The fucking mustache that hunts for silver and gold. Don't tell me you don't watch Rudolph in Canada.
I've watched it. I haven't watched it in fucking years. The only one that I watch religiously every year is the Grinch Who Stole Christmas. But
Grinch?
Right. Grinch Who Stole Christmas. I like Rudolph, Frosty, and all them. I'll catch it if it's on, but I'm not losing sleep if I don't see it anymore.
I own them all, man. Physical media. I got them all because you know what's up. Even now, they're not showing the Peanuts out here this year. The freaking Charlie Brown Halloween, they're not even showing the fucking thing. Well, guess what? I got the Blu-ray. I don't have to rely on a streaming service or TV or nothing. I own it. It's not like it's expensive. You go to Walmart, you get like 3 of them for like freaking $15. You know what I mean? And you own them forever. The Christmas, the Halloween, the Thanksgiving. Why would you not have it? You know what I mean? It's crazy. So Yukon Jack, it's a drink. There you go. Liqueur. Yeah. Okay, hold on. Yukon Jack 100 proof.
From Jacksonville.
Yeah. Oh, it's Canadian. Wait a minute. Hold on. Yukon Jack. Let's get into this now. Okay. It's a Canadian honey-based liqueur made from Canadian whiskey and honey, advertised as the black sheep of Canadian liquors. This alcoholic beverage is named after pioneer Leroy Napoleon Jack McCustern. Okay, blah, 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 blah. The origin of the liquor... Napoleon. It's unknown, the origin, but it's advertised in Maryland in the United States as early as 46. So, it is now produced in Valleyfield, Quebec, and owned by the Sazerac Company. Yukon Jack. Okay. Oh, wow. And check it out. It was selected as the regimental liquor used for special occasions and commemorations for the South Alberta Lighthouse and the 19th Alberta Dragoons. Not dragon, Dragoons. I wonder if they're related to Imagine Dragoons.
Oh, my God.
You know what are they? Oh, it's the Army. You must know what this is.
Imagine Dragoons.
Do you know what they are?
The Army?
No, the 19th Alberta Dragoons. No. Okay, well, it's a big deal. It says here. Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
A cavalry regiment and later an armored regiment of the Canadian Militia and later the Canadian Army. It was placed on the Supplemental Order of Battle in 1965. In 2006, it was taken off the Supplementary Order of Battle, and amalgamated with the South Alberta Light Horse, the cap badge of the 19th Alberta Dragoons. They're there.
Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal actually.
Maybe no, I just saw. I saw it was the Army, right? I just it was.
You know what I mean? Like you've got just like in the States, you got California. You know, you've got like New York State, and then you've got everything in between that no one gives a shit about.
There's something I've been meaning to ask. Oh, hey, so
okay,
yeah.
shoot it. Go ahead.
And I might have asked it already. So if so, I apologize. Are you aware that when you go to Quebec, well, you must be aware, you're Canadian. When you get to Quebec, you get to a certain part, even though it's in Canada, where you can't see, everything is no longer in English. They don't even put they don't even do it dual. They just put French up there and they say fuck you if you speak English. You just gotta figure it out.
Yeah, once you get beyond Montreal or Quebec City and you go deep in, yeah, good luck.
Isn't that mean? How are they not hospitable?
It's frustrating. Oh, they're not. They wanted to separate. There's a whole thing years ago that they wanted to be their own thing. And the problem with it is it's our link to the Maritimes. So like the area that I was just in and those other provinces, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, PEI, and Newfoundland, and whatever, they were linked. That's our link. Because the way it works is it's Quebec and then the U.S. So I would not just Maine, but Maine, Vermont. And what's beside Vermont in between? Is it just New York? It doesn't go New York State to Vermont. What happens?
Let me think about it. I don't think so. I'm not good with geography. Yeah. I never go up. I don't know. New Jersey?
No, Jersey's to the side, and Pennsylvania's there. New York State. I feel like not New Hampshire. I thought there's something
one of them fucking
in the middle.
Places.
Anyway,
I don't know.
So unless we go through the states to get to New Brunswick, which you can. So like where BC is. Actually, Bill Casanelli this time in Bangor, he could drive like an hour to an hour and a half and be in New Brunswick. So like in the province I'm talking, like not that I was at, but one of the provinces I'm talking about. But otherwise, it's connected on the Canadian side with Quebec. So way back when they're talking about separating, it really made it difficult because then you have this its own country in the middle, and then Canada would be divided. And so there's all this shit. But yeah, it was very divided because they were like, no, we want to be our own. We have our own culture. We want our own
How?
Separation.
They're owned by Canada.
And
you are Canada.
Yeah.
Well, you know, okay. Well, you know what I mean. They're a state. Pardon me. They're a province. That would be like all of a sudden Texas just saying here, well, from now on, we don't want to be part of the United States. Fuck the United States. We want to be the country of Texas. No, that would never happen here. Never. Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Who knows? The proposal sounds pretty good, actually.
Who does know? I mean, you are right. It is possible.
Close enough to Mexico. Just cover that off. Make the wall.
You know, are you kidding me? Can you imagine? I just find, again, Trust
me. I've told this story on the show before. I was at an event when I worked for the previous circus, and it was an American company. We were down there for an event, and it was our Canadian team and Texas. And they talked as if they were their own country, and they acted as if they were their own country. And they said, "I don't care if we have Canadians down there, as long as they have the Texas flag over the Canadian flag, not even the American flag, like the Texas flag over the Canadian." I'm like, "You're a state." I've told this on the show before because
right,
exactly
I agree.
My reaction. You're a state. We're a country. But I get it. We're visiting. But I can understand the American flag over the Canadian flag. A lot of people do that if they're no matter where they are. Because they're representing that they're from elsewhere, but they still hold the flag of the country that they reside in and whatever. That's fine. I get it. But fucking Texas. That's why fuck them. Fuck them and Alabama. They're the two that should separate.
They're fucked up, I'll tell you that. Ohio, Texas, and Florida have the most crime of fucking anybody in this country, and you should hear some of the crimes that they happen. They're just ridiculous. They're funny almost. It's out of control. But here's the thing, and I said it once, and I'm gonna say it again. Canada. Everybody from Canada comes off a certain way, right? And I said this before. Canada is quietly conservative. They find ways to fucking be conservative and to be assholish about certain things, right? And like nobody seems to care like that. That would never fly in the United States. Where we're like think about what a conservative fucking approach that is. Well, fuck you. Huh?
They did go through. Like there was a process there, and they were trying to fight for it. But then, like anything, it was voted upon, and then it was.
All right. Fuck you.
No,
You don't like
you
it?
is
Go to
what they
France.
said.
You should tell them.
Exactly.
Well, seriously, if you want to speak French in this, well, see now I sound like the asshole because see there you go. Now the conservatives in the United States will say, if you don't speak English, go the fuck back where you came from too. And I'm not say, see, but now when I say it in your case, I'm the good guy. Because think about it, they're the outsiders. But you know what I'm saying? Well, don't you think like if you have to look at it from on the outside looking in, you know what I mean? Like if you've been in this country all this time, it's Canada, and all of a sudden you want to not, I don't care, you can speak whatever you want to speak, that's fine, but when they come in your area, don't say, well, fuck you, we're not even going to put a stop sign here, we're not even going to give you directions in English, in the Queen's English. You have to, if you don't understand French, that's even though
ridiculous.
You're in Canada,
it should be dual everywhere, no differently than
like it is here.
We have to have French on every bit of packaging,
see,
no matter what province we're in.
It's like us with Spanish.
Where and I'm generalizing again, the big brush with the same stroke for everybody, where in BC they could give a fucking rat's ass whether or not they've got French on the damn label or not. But we do it, and we live with it.
To be nice.
Like our DVDs and Blu-rays and everything. I've always had the dual. That's when it's from Canada.
Correct.
You'll get the information in both English and French in our packaging.
That's what I'm saying. You're being
Imagine
nice
they had
about
to put Spanish on yours. People be up in arms.
Spanish is all over the place out here, but I know
that.
But
that's
it's like
the official language of the United States, actually.
Maybe, but I mean, you guys are being nice. The rest of Canada is being nice to the people of French Canada, but the French Canadians are being dicks to to everyone else. It seems.
Not all. Like
no, it's generalizing. I'm not going to be a general. That's not fair to do, and I don't want to live in absolutes because that's my biggest complaint about people that are into politics and say, well, you're either this or you're this. This is an absolute. I don't want to be that way, but it's like it's so weird that they get away with that in Canada. It really is, considering everybody I know, not everybody, some of the biggest snowflakes I know are from Canada. So they all come off like fucking lefties. And when I say snowflakes, I'm just being me. Because if I have this conversation in my house, I'm going to call these guys snowflakes, and the right I'm going to call extremists. Ultimately, I don't like either of them. Hey, honey.
Yeah.
And here comes Frankie. What are you doing?
I just got up.
You just got up? Okay. I'm talking about snowflakes. What do you think about snowflakes?
Good morning, snowflake.
I don't like
She doesn't like snowflakes. Okay.
I don't like really. What do you mean, like overly sensitive people?
Yeah.
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 Not Trump's definition. I just don't like overly sensitive,
So essentially 95% of who's on the internet.
Yeah, 95% of who's on the internet, Christian says. Basically,
yeah,
here's the funny thing. I always see people insult, and they're always wrong. They go, millennials are trying to change this. It's not even the millennials. They always have it wrong. It should be they're saying Generation Z. But she's a Generation Zer, but she can't stand all this stuff, probably because you're sick of seeing it all the time.
Yeah, it's always on Twitter. Every day there's something on Twitter, and it's like
she's a Generation Frankie Z.
Like someone gets upset, and then it's just like this whole fiasco, and it's like
I know.
Irrelevant.
You don't got to tell me. We have people that are upset about not even that stuff, but movies too that we have to deal with on the internet. But I hear you.
Movies.
Here's the funny thing.
Goddamn movies they're upset
movies.
About. Like, what the fuck? Again, I get, we talked about it last time. We have to talk with passion on the show. But if it's actually affecting your day-to-day life, you guys got fucking problems.
Yeah.
Like if Halloween Kills is really affecting your day-to-day life, Halloween Ends, or Kills, or like Resurrect Them. Like again, we talk with passion on the show, as we said verbatim. Like I said exactly the same argument last week or last episode. But come on.
I know.
It's crazy what I'm seeing.
That's crazy. Sensitivity, period. Now, here's the funny thing. Francesca, you are a sensitive person, are you not?
Yeah, I'm sensitive.
I am too. Like, we're both too sensitive. Well, listen, we are both admittedly too sensitive. So for us to make fun of or to critique saying that these people are too sensitive, they must be too sensitive on a whole other level.
Yeah.
Let's say human beings were too sensitive. She gets that from me, and it sucks.
It's more of like, it's like different. Like I'm emotionally sensitive. But
me
I'm
too.
Not sensitive to the things that are happening around me.
To some, and this is coming from a female who's also biracial and who has many and close ties with homosexuals. Correct?
What do you mean?
Well, you have a lot of friends, and you have friends. That's what I'm saying. You know.
You're outed her on the. No, I.
Close ties. Weren't you going to join the LGBTQ and straight club at school, you said?
Yeah, but I was going to join as support, but the thing is that if you join the club, everyone assumes you are gay, so
Yeah.
that you get discriminated against even more. And I'm already discriminated because I'm biracial.
Crazy.
Yeah. So there you go.
See, I thought we were already leaps and bounds beyond that. It's so frustrating to hear because you feel like we've made all this progress.
The white
and maybe
people make
we
it
really
think.
haven't.
The whites
Yeah.
make it think that we have, but they don't know.
Yeah.
Ultimately, really,
True.
it's white, it's Caucasians. They fight for everybody else. They think they're making all the rules. They think they've changed this. They think they've done that. Ultimately, you really want to know what's going on? Talk to a Generation Zer that goes to a school. Talk to a black person. Talk to a gay person. They will tell
Mhm.
you what's really going on in the world. Not what the white folks are telling you,
Yeah.
right?
Especially at the school I go to. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, her and she hears it all the time. We were talking about Halloween. I wanted to buy big bars of candy, right? And she's like, "Well, I don't want to give it to the kids in our neighborhood because the kids in our neighborhood are jerks." And I'm like, "Well, what do you mean this and that?" This is I hear all this
They're
in tech.
racist.
Yeah.
They were showing videos of like really graphic things to middle schoolers on the bus, like gore,
Yeah.
and I don't think that's okay.
Right. Of
And then they
course
were
not.
talking about whipping black people on the bus, and these are like little white kids.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
They're middle schoolers. They're, you know.
Well,
Yep.
where did they get that from? Obviously, their parents. Obviously.
Well,
Like how?
that's the problem. Because of the sensitivity on the left
Or
coming
their
so
friends.
strong, you're seeing the other side getting angry and almost openly coming out and saying, "Okay, you're going to force us to say this, this, and this, and act this way." Well, now you've triggered us. Now we're going to freaking go overboard too, and now we're going to be more extremists than we were before in this manner, and that's what's happened. And now you got someone like me in the middle who I can't say anything. Somebody might attack me on either side, like it happened to me the other day on Instagram and it was a complete mistake. And I'll tell you that story after.
Yeah.
Well,
I want
this
to hear.
somebody put up a thing. It was called hold on, queer. No, it was a
Oh,
group.
no.
No. But they're horror fans. It's called Hello Sydney Queer Horror. It's I don't know if it's a podcast or a blog or whatever, but I follow them on Instagram.
Can I just say again? Nothing against what their content is. That's a stupid name.
They got it. They want to have queer and horror, and I guess they're Scream fanboys. What do you want?
Okay. Well,
So
I guess
they're
it sums it up then in that
gay
stupid
people
name.
from that generation who are horror fans. It's all there. I hear you, it's not the best name, but so that's what. So they put up a thing, and it was it looked like a T-shirt of something. It was something. It was a quote. It said something. Basically, it said something like, "Anytime I see somebody wearing a political shirt, I walk by them and I say something like." Oh, that's cool, Grandpa, or something like that. Basically, saying only people that are really that strong into politics are out of touch, boomers, grandparents. So I saw someone say this. This is what the post said. So I thought that for once, I'm like, oh my God, a queer person is stepping out of the box and being against politics. Bravo. Usually they have to align themselves with the left just because it's cultish. So anyway, so I made a comment on it. I told them what I say on the show all the time. I said, man, that's awesome. LOL. I always say if I hit the lottery, the first things I would buy are a sledgehammer and a flamethrower, and I would smash the shit out of every vehicle I saw with a political sticker on it, and I would go to everybody's house that had a political sign on their front porch, and I'd shoot the flamethrower and burn it. So then they were doing it. I'm telling you, if you saw this post, you would have thought that's the point. Apparently, they were making fun of somebody at Bloody Disgusting, higher up, that said something like that. But they didn't say that in the post. It's just a picture. So I thought they were like-minded. So I said something. They go, oh, well. Then they got into it with me, and I didn't fight. But they said, well, this and this. And I responded. I said, listen, I don't care about either side. I think it's all crooked. I think both people have nefarious things, et cetera, et cetera. And they go, oh, man, I wish I could be as blasé and, as apathetic as you, as to not care about things that go around you, but it's a free country for now. Making me feel like the bad guy. Then I come back and I go, listen, I don't care that you support politics. That is your right in this country to do it. I do not, because I don't like either side. So I'm not going to be one of those people that are forced to pick one of the sides. Because if I think they're both cults, what am I doing by joining one of them? I actually am making a difference because I am not registering to vote. I am against it all. I stand for something, and I stand for, I don't like what you're selling me. I'm not going to blindly say, oh, well, I got to eat a Hershey or a freaking, or a Heath bar, or as South Park would say, what is it? A douche or a piece of shit, whatever the hell it is. You gotta choose between the both, whatever the hell it is. Forgot what it was. So then I said, and I wasn't mean about
Funny
it.
as is. Yeah.
I'm not choosing. I'm saying, you know what I mean. I feel all they care about is one culture, the left and the right. They care about the only culture they care about is the 1%. And at the end of the day, they all have money, and divide and conquer has worked. Same thing you've heard me say many times. And then that was it. And then eventually, other people weighed in. They go, oh, yeah, people that can't commit to either side, they're just the ones that are making it more trouble because they allow the right people to come in and do this. And you got
Well, that's always been the argument.
blah.
My mom even uses that argument to this day. I see where they're coming from, but again, you have to. I totally understand what you're saying, but it's a hard argument to win, Dave, because it's been ingrained in the psyche of culture. I know. You know,
Right.
I'm just saying that's the you're just gonna get that thrown back at you constantly.
Yeah, well, and then I didn't say anything back. I just said, I go, well, that's fine. I go, listen, that's fine. You do your thing. I'm going to do mine. I always say, as long as you're not hurting anybody, do what you want to do. You know what I mean? Live a good life, do what you want. And that's, my life is short. I'm just trying to enjoy what I have here. And I feel sorry for my daughter's generation. Hopefully they can somehow get it right. But the way things are going, I don't think so.
And I've got a better name for the group. I found it, figured it out 2 seconds after. I was trying not to interrupt you. I did. But this is way Scream Queers. Instead of Scream Queens, Scream Queers. It's about Scream, and the queer. They're supporting the queer or representing the queer community. Scream Queers. Done.
Scream Weird. If it's not out there, we should just form our own and pretend. Yeah, just pretend. Well, because we'll get a push. We don't got to go down this aisle of this discussion again, but we will. So anyway, that's what happened. And then I went. They didn't respond. It was a little back and forth, but not bad. You know me. And then eventually they just took it down. But I said, I go, the only reason I weighed in on this at all is because I thought you were like-minded because of the original post. Yeah. I go, that's why. Otherwise, I don't talk politics. I thought you were someone like me that says, yeah, both sides are pretty bad. You know, don't deal with them. And that's what I thought you were saying. And I thought it was a refreshing take. But of course, it's not. They have to.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it backfired. It blew up in your face.
Yeah. So that'll teach you. So that's what it is. So Frank.
Now you. Oh, sorry. What does Frankie? I don't
no, she's here. I just wanted to say. I think we were saying something before I got in there. What were we talking about?
What do you mean?
I thought we were talking about. Generations. Yeah. Either way, she's a sensitive person. I'm a sensitive person, and we're sensitive to the plight of many. However, all these white folks trying to make everything right, it's almost like another form of racism. You know, it's like, well, we're going to tell everybody how to do it here. This is what you got to do. This is what you got to do for the colored people. Colored people sounds bad, but they always like to use person of color. So it's too close to it. You know what I mean? This is what you want to do for people of color. This is what you want to do for homosexuals. Boom. And they're speaking for everybody, whether or not they're one of them.
That's what we've said it on the show. I know. I can't see. I understand evolution, but maybe join the fight and show support, but let the strings and everything be pulled by the proper people, because ultimately you're right. It just seems like it's tacked on and like not authentic or something. I don't know. I've always said this. I believe what I believe.
I'm glad you figured
I'm not going to fight the fight for somebody else because I don't feel like it's my place. I think I'll be more. I would be insulting. I think I'd be insulting everybody because it's not. I'm a newbie in it, so I support. But I'm not gonna I'll join, but I'm not gonna fight anything. You know what I mean? That's for you. You guys throw it out there, and I'll show my support.
Well, here's the thing. I've said it before. There was a time where I would have fought, but I can't fight for these people to the right and to the left of me. I don't align with them anymore. You know, if it was for the greater good of the country, let's overthrow the government. Let's revolt. Let's really do it. Let's make the world a better place and get this tyranny out of here that we have. Yes, that would be something I would have been willing to fight for and did speak about for years. Now, they've made all these people, draw a line in the sand and say, okay, you're this or you're this. Yeah. And they're separating more and more instead of coming together, and they don't see it. Yeah, but again, that's a whole other thing. But yeah, Halloween Ends. Frankie, people are going crazy about this movie.
Why?
Because they're fans of the original Halloween, and they don't like it. Halloween Ends.
They're insane. Again, it's beyond opinion. It's opinion spilling over into like rage.
Rage, his rage.
Yes. They have the rage of Michael in their opinion, and it's okay to have a strong opinion. Again, we're talking with passion on the show. I think that's always like different because we're trying to be entertaining and also putting our point of view across in a show format. But
Right.
when you're writing it on
Hey.
a page and people are unfriendly, I'm just like, what the fuck is going
Right.
on here? Over a goddamn movie.
Right, dude. Right.
Over
It's
a
crazy.
movie.
I just, what are you gonna do? No, they're mad because Corey was doing a lot of the killing. I keep seeing jokes about all this other stuff. Michael's being, where's Michael? How come he's not in the movie? You know what I mean? This
He
is
is.
well, not
Yeah.
enough for them.
Not enough for the ones that saw the other 12 movies. Or wait,
Yeah.
11, since Halloween 3 didn't have him in it either. But you know what I
Well, he did. He did for
Yeah.
30 seconds. So they want to say that he had. It's pretty close to how much he was in this movie. But they don't like the direction it went. They were expecting something else. They got that. They got Corey doing killings instead of Michael. They didn't like the way Laurie was portrayed. They didn't like
I liked it.
the end battle was too short, which I don't know why people want to see a Freddy vs. Jason-esque battle between Laurie and Michael, two
Imagine that.
60-year-olds for freaking 20 minutes. But whatever. Right? I'm not into the battle. I don't want to see that
Pop
battle.
pills, get the heart back, regulate her heart rate.
I didn't want to see Freddy vs. Jason. I'm not a versus guy. I just wanted to see, at the end of the day, I wanted to see somebody kill somebody or both of them die. And I don't care if the fight was 5 minutes or 20 minutes. At the end of the day, I wanted to see she kills Michael, Michael kills her, or they kill each other. Ultimately, as long as we got that type of resolution, I'm happy. But other people wanted that plus more, and that's fine. I'm not knocking them, but I'm knocking how angry they are. People are really angry. They're out of control about this movie. And didn't I tell you when we watch the movie, people are going to be all freaking going crazy about it.
Yeah, but I just expect it to be like every other movie where it's like, oh, they'll criticize it, but it's not going to be like a worldwide like epidemic where they're like fighting and like.
It's the last chapter. That's why. It's the one that's supposed to end it all.
Oh.
So they're mad. This is how this whole thing ends. This whole saga of Laurie and Michael.
Yeah, but who wakes up and like gets stressed out about the all because the last Halloween movie wasn't the way they wanted it to be?
Well, people that
The
want
internet.
Yeah. Honestly, though, I'd rather them fight about that than have to hear about some of the stuff you talk about seeing on Twitter.
Oh,
know.
Oh, that's
absolutely.
Right, I'm sure it's bad. Every day it's probably a new complaint. Let's do this. Let's eliminate that. Blah, blah, blah. This and that. Whatever.
I'm not on Twitter, but I hear about it constantly. Like, there's like people that profit off it on YouTube. Like, they make whole like videos discussing like what's happening on Twitter for the day. They're like, oh, this person said this. This person.
Now-
said that. Like,
I should do that.
It's always been here. I know it's always been there. It's always been on social media. It's always been part of it. But again, and I'm trying to dance around not making this about politics. Hasn't it gotten worse since 2016?
way worse.
Thank you.
Exactly.
Thank you. And who are the
Exactly.
people complaining? The people that put the left in. And they're still complaining. That's what I'm saying, because it doesn't matter. Even when Trump was there, this country was getting more and more sensitive as it was on. I remember saying, I go, if the president matters so much, how come we're living in a society right now where everything's being canceled? I was saying this when Trump was in. I go, none of this matters. This is what I keep. They're so worried about freaking elections and this and that. Meanwhile, what the hell's going on here? It doesn't matter who's the figurehead. This stuff is still happening regardless. And they don't seem to understand that.
Well,
Anyway.
let's get off of it. Let's talk
Yeah.
about your rage that you had this morning. You had like Loomis style rage, supposedly.
That was pretty.
And then I had right after we recorded, actually, last week, I had a situation that came up, and it's a very sad situation. But the only reason I'm going to
sad
talk
one,
about it is
wow.
because it was a whole week of it's good, and it's ongoing. It's crazy. But you
Keep
talk,
an eye
bye,
on
friend,
Bailey, honey.
Yeah.
Christian says goodbye.
and don't let him shit on the floor.
Yeah, don't let Bailey shit on the floor, he said. Yeah, keep an eye
Oh, I
on her.
meant
She was
you.
trying to jump
let Dave-
from the
don't let
freaking
Dave
the
shit.
basket to the friggin' the thing.
She did that last night.
Did she make it?
Yeah.
See, I told you.
I pushed it back more.
Okay, all right. This friggin' dog. Remember I told you about this now? Now, I had it down to a science. What?
Well, now I'm going to derail you though. We introduced
I'll
this
come back.
show, and we kind of this is the problem.
Oh.
We said that people might have been expecting Brandon to be on here, and it's just us. And we went off on a tirade already for we went on for oh my god,
we did.
35 almost 35.
This is going to be the show. Good
Great.
thing we don't have a review. Happy Halloween, everyone.
Well, no, I feel bad because we were here 30 minutes and they're like, hey, answer the goddamn question. Where the fuck is Brandon? So I feel bad because, I as much as I don't want
You're
Bailey
right.
shit on the floor, and you've got a story and I've got a story, I think we should address the big
Thank
B
you.
that's not in the room.
Thank you. Ah, the big B. The big B from the big D. Okay, let's see here. So, so we talked to Brandon, and okay, let's see here. He wanted us to read something here. Okay, so this is
He's
what
not
he wrote
on,
here.
obviously. Step
Obviously.
one or point one, he's not here.
Here's the thing, though. He actually was gonna come on here today.
Yes.
And then he had issues at the house with plumbing, something. What the hell? There was stuff dripping, something or
There
that.
was he says a major leak, and it just
Okay.
sort of derailed everything. And I guess the last thing he was like, and it's still an issue. Happened yesterday. It's still happening last night and today. So he just said it's just not feasible. But
Right.
there was this whole idea of coming on today.
Right. And I picture Brandon now like, what's that movie when they got buckets on the ground and all the water's coming off the ceiling and what is that? You know what I'm talking? I recall seeing this in a movie. Someone's got a bunch of buckets and everything's like falling apart. Water's
Nightmare
coming
on Elm
down.
Street, where they're like having Johnny Depp's blood
One
spill into that
bucket.
bucket. Yeah.
One
should
bucket.
Stop it. Yeah.
It's like Barbarian. One bucket in a room. I don't know if you saw that, but the guy says something. I'm not gonna go crazy because there's a room with a camera and a bucket in it or something. Did you see Barbarian or no?
No, not yet.
Okay.
Not yet.
That part was a little bit
I heard
funny.
it's coming out on streaming in
good.
a couple of days. Yeah.
Nice, good. Well, then check it out. We'll get back to 2022 because we got a lot to talk about there. I'm telling you, we do have a lot to talk about. But yeah, this is paramount. This is what's most important here. So B, he says, please tell our great friends and supporters. I appreciate them and miss them. I never thought I would be out this long, but burnout was real, and then life got in the way. I made tons of changes to my lifestyle and haven't been watching a lot of movies this past year. The hardest part of all of this was feeling like I was abandoning Dave and Christian, which still bothers me to this day. Otherwise, this would have been so much easier because I just needed an indefinite break. We will make that movie one day. That I am committed to. As for now, I'm just not feeling movie reviews. So that's it.
Okay.
It's short and sweet.
He's off the shelf permanently. No, that's the first time I heard that, and I didn't know what I was going to be. I'm cracking a joke, but that's upsetting because I don't want him to feel like he's letting anybody down. He could have just said, guys, I'm done. And I guess I don't know if this is him saying that. It sounds like it is.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want to say it.
Well,
so
I knew it.
I'm glad we got that.
I knew that's what it was, that he was, but when we talked privately, we would say it in chat, I'd say, B, no pressure, this and that, just let us know by Halloween, etc. Yeah, I'm like, whatever you decide to do, it's okay, we understand. So because I know the type of guy he is, and I'm that type of person too. I'd be just as worried about how I was going to handle myself and what was going on with me as if I was letting somebody else down. Because that's how I am too.
I feel horrible for that because I don't want him to feel that at all.
But
I just make his situation worse. I'd rather just him say, like, now that I've heard that, I can respond to him again. He did tell me he was sending you something, that part, that he just sent me a quick thing, but didn't go into that any close to that detail. So I'm hearing it pretty much the first time, obviously a little bit more ahead of time than the listeners will hear it, but my reaction will probably be the same. So listeners, I mean, we're not trying to string you along here. This is we're hoping for the best, but this is the reality of it. I got to admit, I'm not if I have to read this and based on how he's presented it there and with the interactions there, I think he was going to announce this today in person on the show because we weren't doing a review today. So I think it's safe to say that he's not going to be back on the show, at least not in the nearest future. He'll always be invited to come back on, but I honestly think that this is possibly a permanent thing.
Yeah. And it's like I told him, I go, well, when we talked for a little bit and then, what was the phrase I used? But I basically says,
fuck off. I'm sorry. This is my defense mechanism, everybody.
Hey, it's okay. And then I said, if you ever decide you want back, we'll always keep the seat warm for you, So basically what I said, the seat is his if he ever wants it back. We're not going to bring on a third host unless a permanent host, unless the listeners and everybody rallies and says, yes, this is what we really want you to do. If that doesn't happen, which I can't imagine it is going to happen, I don't think that will happen. So, but I mean, we conversed a little bit, and I don't think he has a problem me just saying this part here. He says, these days I'm only spending about 2 minutes a day on the computer, as opposed to previous years. I could be up to there for 4 hours on a day sometimes. You know what I mean? He's not. He goes,
that's healthy. That's good.
Right.
That's good.
I basically gave up technology and went outside and spent more time with all the nieces and nephews. So
that's all positive shit.
Man. I applaud that. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
That part is.
I mean, you can't. That's awesome, and that's great, and it just pains me that he feels like he's letting us down, because that's not I like. And again, we've always had a talk track. I would have rather him just felt like he could have said, guys, I'm done, and then not had that burden on him. That's my only. I feel bad that he's felt that now.
But but the thing is, I knew it.
But I know you did.
No.
You've always said it. We didn't want to push him to the decision. Right. And we didn't want to say, you're gone, man. You've been gone too long. Because we didn't want that.
Right.
We wanted him back. But
of course.
So, okay. Well, hey, guys. Like, I mean, again, we don't want to let anybody feel like they've been, deceived or down from you guys listening in. So make whatever decision you want to do. But, I mean, I think a lot of you have. And we continue to appreciate the support. Chime in. Let us know. But that's the news, and that's the reality of the situation. And I'll permanently remove his face from the logo. I'm sorry.
We might have to get a new logo.
I went to the one with no faces a long time ago for the main one. But yeah, we'll have to clean that all up, because again, that's going to be sad too. We'll have that I mean, it's sad because it's a part of the legacy of the show. But ultimately, as shows evolve, maybe we'll keep it going until show 200 the way it is, and then we'll figure out like how we change the opening and everything else thereafter. But
we're gonna have to figure out show 200 period, because we're gonna have to have people on now. It's not gonna be me here. Okay, movie number 200, Altered States. I'm just announcing it to you. It's got to be more than that. You know what I mean? It's just.
Wow, great. Next.
You know what I mean? It's like...
You need it, because for those list shows, I have the worst, because I'm just like, and we've got to have a little bit of conversation. We'll have people on. We'll definitely invite people on. Maybe we'll do a draw, like not a draw, but like a random thing for anybody interested, and then we can figure out from there.
Wouldn't that be cool? But they could spend an hour. Maybe they can be there. Randomizer. There's 22 shots. Let's say maybe we could have it like. Somebody could be here for like 200 to 151. Like for every 50 we have like a different guest or two
boot
or
them
something.
Right the fuck off the show.
And they're out, and someone else comes in. They move in. Okay, let's go. You know what I mean? It'd be fun. It's a party. Or we could just keep adding people. Imagine that by the end. Yeah, but every hour somebody new comes in. By the end of it, there's 10 of us in here. It's like the new show I'm doing when we got everybody
Connection's
there.
Horrible. Yeah. Well, it's horrible. That's not the best news, but it's not surprising. No. But it would have been nice for him to be able to come on and say it to everybody like his intention was. But what are we gonna do?
I mean, it sucks. It does suck.
Yeah.
I'm not obviously I'm not happy about it, but I've kind of suspected it for a while, just because I have a feel for people, and I just kind of feel, and I've been through it before in different podcasts. I can kind of feel when interest is being lost, and I always try to steer things when I see that happen to make things easier for people every time that does, because I don't want to stop podcasting. I enjoy it. I keep going, but I mean I understand.
Fucking 10 shows, Dave.
But it's really not that much. I'm doing the shows, but it's like, it's just on the weekends. And now with Irene being gone, I could do it on a Sunday morning. I can watch football, and I could do like an hour and a half, 2 hours at night if I want to, which is fine. It's keeping me home. It's keeping me, at least I could have other hobbies. I could go out freaking golfing or bowling or hit the bar like other guys do or whatever the hell they do. But this is fine for me. It gives me an excuse to watch movies, which I love doing. And BS about it, and somehow people enjoy listening to me, and I'm like, okay, this is cool, You know what I mean? So
Except those VHS people.
what are you gonna do? You got to move on.
They're
You got to
busy-
move
they're
on
too-
from them.
They're too busy fixing their tracking on their fucking VHS tapes to listen. So we're not too worried about them.
They're concerned with mold. Too much mold.
Mold and tracking issues. Fucking 2022. I gotta fix my tracking. These fucking idiots.
2022. I gotta fix my tracking. Amazing. They got the dial.
Oh,
All that
shit.
stuff. It is funny, isn't it? But again, to each their own.
To each their own. I was just about to say.
See, ultimately, that's what we have to say here. Because what else can you do? You want to be a jerk about it, be a jerk. But I'm not going to be a jerk about it. So be it. It is.
That's my job. That's where I fit firmly into this whole sort of team environment.
Well, see, now B can't be replaced. We've said this. That's all there is to it. There's nobody else like him. He can't be replaced. For that dynamic to return, it would be too hard. Even if we brought somebody else in, it would have to be somebody that we were really close with. There's only like a few people that I would even consider where the two of us would be able to vibe on a regular basis with and be completely comfortable that way. Where it almost falls into the way it was with B, or even with just with the two of us doing this. It's hard to do, but I mean, we'll probably put it out to you guys or see what the hell is going to
Maybe
happen.
we could get like a new rookie and we just cattle prod them.
Imagine that.
Submission into doing like all like
Rookie of the year,
the
part two. Part two, Rookie of the Year. Maybe we should find someone. Imagine that if I could just find someone like I did with B and say, okay, I think this guy here might have it.
You have the magic, Dave. You do it. It's all on you. But since we're on the sad subjects, I'll bring up my sad story and then just take just to shift gears a little bit. But the second I got off the show, recording the show with you last week, I went upstairs and found out that a friend of ours that had been diagnosed with cancer just within the last 6 to 8 months passed away. We knew he wasn't doing well. Guy lives right around the corner. He's a fellow dance dad, 3 kids, and his wife. The kids are just slightly younger than mine. One the same age as Christian. I just can't imagine what they're going through. And so it was just really upsetting. I just came off the high of the show, heard this, knew that he was in the hospital, knew that he was not. It was took a turn for the worse, but still just brutal. And
awful.
I guess my guilt comes from the fact that like we've done some nice things for the family whenever we're close, whatever. Before I went away, I had to go away, and I'm like, a second I knew this has happened, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to be there for the funeral. I know I'm not. I just know it's going to interject, and I just felt horrible because my family went and saw the visitation, but I couldn't go because I was away. And that's going to kill me. So I've got to, we're still helping at the family. The family's fine. She's like said, like, look, I want to, we do the carpools with each other. And she wanted to be part of the carpools, the wife, because she's like, I got to get back into doing stuff normal.
Right.
But I just can't imagine, man. I just can't imagine what they're going through right now. But strong family, because they've seemed to have got everything under control. My wife said that, it was obviously very sad being at the visitation, everything like that, and filled it in. But that's what happened the second we got off the recording. That's where I walked up and Carrie had to break the news to me.
Wow.
That way too. So
that sucks.
Yeah.
Jeez, what a thing. Oh.
42 years old.
What kind of cancer did he have?
Stomach, but I think something like he was fighting against. It might have been pancreatic.
It's all
because
bad.
what happened was the
Organs.
focus shift, and what happened was he went in because he was experiencing headaches, and like almost like low key vertigo or just like not being able, his balance was off. That's how he went into the hospital, and based on the tests they did, they found out he had cancer.
Damn. Wow.
So, yeah, I bring that up only because it's just such a heartbreaking story. And his name was Dave too. So
really,
R.I.P.
Sorry to hear that, man. Yeah, R.I.P. That's
I
almost feel guilty for saying this, but
it's the family
if I were you,
I feel bad for.
Of course, that's where your heart goes, 100%. I don't know how you feel about funerals and services and shit like that. I would have breathed a sigh of relief knowing that I was going to be somewhere for work and not have to be there. I hate going to funerals. But that's me. I mean, no one enjoys it.
Even Carrie said, I know no one enjoys it at a funeral.
Right.
Even Carrie said, like, she said, I'm going. Don't worry about it. Maybe just reach out to somebody. I go, no, I can't. Because even what I'm doing now is more for me, I think, because they're not gonna hear this. But I feel horrible. But I said, no, if I reach out to Sam now, it's to make me feel better about missing the funeral. It doesn't do her any good. We already brought a care package over on the Tuesday night. So even me doing this on the show right now, it's for me to feel, because I feel guilt of not being able to be there to feel supportive for them and their family. Yeah. So I guess this is a more cathartic way to get through it, to explain it, because I do. And again, we're gonna continue to do what we normally do, and we help each other out with the drives and everything else. But again, it's just like I added, and I get you. I tried to change my flight. I couldn't. It was the way I booked it. The way we book it through a travel thing through work. So because of that, I couldn't even go to the airline directly to try to get earlier flight. The earlier flight was really reserved, and then they were going to make me pay a major penalty even if I could do it. So then I'm like, well, this is just astronomical. Maybe like they gave us a window of maybe being able to make it there in the last half hour, but of course there was a bit of a delay.
Yeah, but dude,
so there was just no option.
You know them well. So, they're your neighbors. So I mean, and this is the way I look at it. I mean, I haven't been there yet, but the way I feel when the survivors of someone who's passed on, when their immediate family is there and they're at something like that, they're so in their own haze. Absolutely. I don't think, I mean, it matters to them. They see somebody's face. Okay, I'm glad they're here. I appreciate it. But ultimately, the last thing on their mind is who showed up and who didn't, I think, and what exactly they did. Now, you're there for them. So, you know what I mean?
You're right. And again, like I said, it's me. And you're right, because when I went through it with my dad, it was a blur.
See?
It was just like like you're just like, you knew people were there, and I remember interactions, and then seeing that actually sometimes makes it worse, but you get more emotional because you see the emotion on their faces and whatever. You just can't hide from it. But again, it was crappy news that I found out right away, like I said, right after, and it just was this week, and whether or not, like, he was a great guy. So this is not somebody, I don't know. I didn't really do much of a tribute for him, but yeah, he was the guy you want on the show if you want to talk about football. He would have been your football counterpart. He was a diehard Patriots fan.
That's okay. Did he stick with the Patriots before and after Brady?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I got nothing but respect for that. That's your team. That's your team. If they happen to get hot and they win, good on you. Yep. So what? That's what I say. People are too uptight about that shit too. But that's another thing. But the life is short. This is more further evidence of it. People that are worrying about this and that and the other thing in the interim. And honestly, this is what in the discussion that I had with B last night. This is one of the things I said to him, and he liked it. And he was like, "You know what? That's something good to
never contact us again."
I'm doing no. He says I
stumbled over my own damn joke. As you
No.
Contact us again.
This is what I said when we were talking about them. I said, I can share this because it's me. I said, I have issues my damn self. I do so much thinking all the time that I find ways to rationalize and temporarily fix my brain. Then I go bad for a bit and then I come back. But I've learned to bring myself back a lot quicker. I've learned to focus on everything I have and not think about the things that I don't have, because it doesn't make a difference in the end. Shit goes by in a blink of an eye, and then one day we look back and wonder what the hell we were so worried about and what a waste of time it was. That's what I told him.
This is what like, these are the discussions we've had as a family this past week. More my wife and I, but you know, the kids are well aware of what happened too. It exactly it. You this happens, and you're like, holy fuck! Like, what are we doing? What are we worried about? Like, you've got to live and make the most out of life. And I know it sounds cliche and whatever, but it doesn't make any difference when you find out you've got a diagnosis, and whether you've got a week, 6 months, 2 years, 3 years, who knows? He went in fighting it. His game plan was to beat it, and you know what? And he got hit. He got hit harder, and had some problems and some obstacles that obviously sent him back to the hospital, and he wasn't able to overcome it. And now, like, you know, what do you think his family is thinking? They just want to, and the fact is, I'm glad they were able to spend the time that they did and do the things that they did, and that's all that matters then at the end. And so imagine your last post was that you hated the fact that Corey was in Halloween Ends so much.
I know, right?
And that's the legacy you live. Like, at the end of the day, I bring that back to try to make some light of everything. But I mean, that's just so. That's why it's like, I'm like, really, what the fuck? And again, I keep bringing this up, and I'm almost like a broken record. But that's you know me by now. It's like, passion on the shows differently, but like online, and I've interjected. I do the same thing you do, Dave, and it's a self-referential thing. I'll be good and I'll be like, yeah, ignore it. And then suddenly I'm just like laser focused. I'm like, this is pissing me off. And for whatever reason, I feel like I needed to address it. And I don't know why I feel the need to address it, but I'm going to fucking address it. And then afterwards, I'm like, why? Why did I do that? Why did I feel the need to do that?
And I've learned from that. Online interaction, I'm a pro now. I don't get sucked in, nothing. If I respond once, they're lucky they got that one respond, and that's as far as it's going to go. And I'm never going to be rude about it or anything. I'm just going to try to explain why I feel what I feel without being a jerk and say, well, I took it this way. If it didn't work for you, okay. I might respond once to negativity, and that's it. Usually I have a 0 response to negativity. I just ignore it. But if I might give them 1, but when I respond, it's done in a nice way, and then never again. So online, it's a wrap. I've been this way for a while. When I'm on, when I'm off, I'm going to leave again after probably after Halloween for like a month or so. You know what I mean? Come back for the holidays or something a little bit. But I'm going to bounce and thing. But the thing is this. There's one more thing I wanted to say. This is something I told B. It's relevant to B.
And then
it's
I'll add one thing at the end of that about B as well.
To what we're talking about and something else that we're going to talk about. But this is what I said. That's the best advice I have, man. I was referring to what I had said prior because we talked a little more. And I said, so remember it and just be concerned about what's best for Brandon. As long as you are kind to everyone else at the same time, then you've done nothing wrong in life and you'll be thought of fondly in life and death. And that's all I said. Worry about yourself, but be kind to everybody else in the meantime. If you do those two things.
Imagine Brandon not being kind, right?
No, he is kind.
No, I know that you're saying that, but it's funny because when you think of that, I would only assume Brandon's kind to everybody. I would only assume that. I'd like to think that of myself, but I have moments. I've had moments. I don't think I have them at all anymore, and I always do. And even today, what happened to me at Tim's, I wasn't mean to anybody, but I was absolutely fuming. I will tell you that. But that's another story. But the bottom line is be kind to everyone all the time, no matter what they throw at you. And see, you want to worry about yourself and be concerned about yourself, but not at the sake of, because that's why I threw that in there. Living life too.
You don't want to screw anybody else. That's what I'm saying. But you don't want to be selfish. You want to do what's best for you, but at the same time, you don't want to say, well, it's best for me, so fuck everybody else. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying do what's best for you while at the same time be kind to everyone else. And that's just the way to go, I think, And
I don't mean to make this sound like a eulogy for Brandon as well, but he lives on in the recordings that are hitting Anchor. So really the only ones that are really going to be feeling this pinch right now is obviously Dave, myself, and you guys that are our patrons that are listening to these shows that are at the 190 range and whatever. And I think it started at 178 or 181. I can't remember when Brandon left. I think it was 178 was the first one. But anyway, he's going to be. People are not going to realize this that are just listening to Anchor, and they catch up and find out Brandon's not here in another year. So,
dude, it's so weird because we have been since I've been on the new show on Jay of the Dead's new horror movies. I have been talking to more people online. That people have been friendly or questioning me more on here. The Twitter's more active, and people that have not listened to our show have come around. Some have become patrons, other things. But some people are just listening to the old shows, not knowing, right? And they're going to see what's going to happen. Then on the other respect, some people just join Patreon and are listening to these shows. And they probably don't even know what's going on. Who's Brandon? You know what I mean? So it's there's like that weird dynamic of when you start, because people know so
Who's
little.
This other head on the show.
Yeah, right. Right. Who is this exactly? But I've been that's happened to me myself as a listener, joining shows later on. Starting to listen to shows later on in their catalog. You know what I mean? So it's a weird thing. But it's like people don't even know about Banana Laser and stuff like that. They don't know. People that are just discovering
God bless those people.
Stuff now. We're putting out the good stuff now. Halloween, baby. Halloween. But anyway, that's October.
What do I do? Like this, I out of respect, what do I do because again, on the audio show, you guys wouldn't know any difference. It's the intro, us, and whatever. So I guess this is specifically for the video, which we know there's certain people that absolutely love. There's a YouTube audience, and there's some on Patreon that just watch that. But I'd say like the YouTube audience beyond Patreon, so they're watching the old shows. So those old shows are already uploaded. That's not changing. Brandon's on them anyway, and it's going to continue. But moving forward, do we keep the same logo? Do we keep the same opening and closing? Because there, you've got the logo, you've got the name, you've got his name on it at the beginning, at the end. Do I keep it going? Do I stop it immediately? Do I keep it going to 200 like I mentioned? I'm good either way.
Look behind you. Look behind you over your left shoulder. What do you see? Not the Jason mask. Keep going. Now look to your right a little bit. What do you see?
With this mannequin?
That could be Brandon.
Yeah.
Brandon could be on every show. Sit him down next to you.
They don't see him until I do that. Yeah.
Well, put a chair next to you. Okay. We'll put a head on it, like a mannequin, like a, what do you call? And we'll get a picture of Brandon and we'll put it there. And every so often he could weigh in. This way, Brandon is still on the show. And then we can make jokes about him. We can put him into the thing. He can weigh in sometime. And then people can, and now to them, to the new listeners, Brandon will be just like some joke. They won't even know that he once existed as a person. Well, he still exists as a person. They won't even know that he once was on the show as a person, as a human being, that he's not just this dummy here. That's what we should do. That should be Brandon. You know?
Or my old thing is just interject old voice sound samples of him.
If you could,
like he's still on the show. You'd only know it for the audio version, though.
It's too much work. It's too much work. See, I'm trying to make it no work for you. Like if you were to change the intro on the video and this and that, I figure that's too much work. It's probably less work for you to take the Brandon dummy and sit him next to you and go, hey, Brandon.
I was thinking of slightly revamping it for 200 anyway. Like our theme music's our theme music, so there's certain things that are there's certain aspects that are not going to change anyway. It's just most likely trying to freshen it up and to give it a little new look from 200 and beyond, one way or the other. So it was going to happen. So I guess that makes the most sense. Just wait till then.
Yeah, man.
And until then, the Manic Carino.
Man.
The Brandon Carino.
The Brandon Carino. That could be his name. No longer Brandon Orlick. Brandon Carino. He's an Italian. Brandon Carino. I'm telling you that. Now everybody's Italian on the show. We can be the horror mafia.
The new horror mafia. The new horror mafia exploding head show. Remember they always do that with your cartoons? The new Scooby-Doo.
How about this? Yeah, have you ever realized
horror movie podcast? Sorry?
Can't do it. Because anytime you put the new in front of something, it sucks. Or it's not as good. Think of one time when
Scrappy-Doo.
Fuck Scrappy-Doo. I said it. Fuck Scrappy-Doo.
Everybody said it.
Okay, I didn't know. I never liked it. The thing is this. Think about it. Can you think of an instance where new was put in front of anything and it actually was better than the previous, incarnation of it? In wrestling, it never works. I can tell you that. They always have the new this, like tag teams and never worked. New. Is there anything like TV or product or something where they put new in front of it where it was better? I don't think it's ever happened.
New Kids on the Block? No, even that's not better.
Pictures on my jog like New Kids on the Block. Yeah, if there was just regular Kids on the Block before.
Yeah.
Kids on the Block. There was Kids in the Hall. I remember that. Canadian, I believe.
Kids in the Hall. Yeah, it is Canadian.
The Kids in the Hall.
New Kids in the Hall.
Yeah. How about Degrassi? Wasn't the first Degrassi better?
There was the Next Generation.
That's a burial. Anything with Next Generation is the worst you can say. Really, I think it's the worst. The wrestling Next Generation was terrible. Bad time. Not as bad as now, but bad for the time.
You know what? The new Degrassi was good. It's arguable. I mean, I grew up with the old one, so the old one is nostalgia and good. But it's
better.
The new one was good.
It was okay, good. But it's not written as well. It's not as. It's same thing with they had. What was the first one? High school or junior high? Junior.
Degrassi
right?
Junior High. Yeah.
Yeah, that was better than the other one. The first one was better. But there's
Kids at Degrassi Street. Then there was Degrassi Junior High, and then that was the first one. Kids at Degrassi Street. Then it was Degrassi Junior High, and then there was Degrassi High. And then it came back a few decades later or whatever, or maybe not decades later, but there was a long time that passed.
That's a topic.
Degrassi High and that's a topic. Not for this show. Maybe for the new Exploding Heads.
Could you imagine the new? We should just do that as an in-joke. It's never as good.
Exploding Heads horror movie podcast.
The new. Or how about the old No, we can't do that. That would be old. People. Some of the things you can't put new in front of anything. I cannot think that is a topic though. Weigh in. Has anything ever been called
Heads? The Next Generation.
or the next generation that was better? The next generation or new? Has it worked? Has it ever new
For Pepsi?
New Pepsi?
The choice of the new generation or the next generation. They use both, I think.
Yeah, they did, but they didn't change anything.
Pepsi Next. Isn't that what it was called?
Pepsi Clear, Pepsi fucking Blue, Pepsi. I don't
Pepsi
know.
my balls. Pepsi was always never going to win over Coke. I know it did. It's kind of like Burger King versus McDonald's. There was a time I think Burger King was making an impact, but it just never took off.
I don't know what McDonald's has.
Let me rephrase that. Obviously took off. It's a successful chain, but I don't think it never dethroned. No
pun intended.
Yeah.
Dethroned. Well, I don't get it, and I can't. I can't. I haven't had a Burger King burger since I was in single digits, because the last time I had one, there was onions on those little and I said, "Yuck, fuck this." I never had it again, and that was it. The only thing I've had from McDonald's since then has been fries, an apple pie a few times, and I've had some McNuggets recently because I bought one of those Halloween buckets. I wanted to get them. So I had 4 McNuggets, and they weren't bad. But other than that, if I'm going to do something between the two, I'm going to Burger King. I'm getting 2 plain cheeseburgers. I think they are the best cheeseburgers for the money that you can get. For the money. I'm not saying they're better than, fucking Five Guys, or I'm not out of my mind. But I'm just saying, if you're going to go down that route,
not out of my mind.
Well, I mean, Five Guys is much better.
So what the fuck happened this morning? I know, people are probably going, you guys are not going to talk anything horror today. Yeah, we're going to. Fucking get your pants on. You wanted the Brandon thing. We gave you the Brandon thing.
I gave you real life horror, and there's more.
Yeah, I gave you
and there's more real life horror. I've had all these things happen. That's what I'm saying. Both of my parents have been sick. This has happened. My father's had issues. My mother has cancer now. Okay, we got all these things.
God.
We've just had the story. I don't know if I told you about the dog that passed away. My brother and my brother's dog, and that horrible fucking thing that just happened. Dude, all this has happened in the last 3 weeks. Health issues with my parents, both of my parents, and the situation with the dog. And it's been fucked up. So that's what I'm saying. There's been a lot going around here,
Jesus.
Yeah. But where were we going? We were going into the story.
Well, I don't know if you're going to go into your story this morning or not, or what you went through right before you went into the show.
Bottom line is this.
I love the bottom
Only
line.
fucking me. I've been saying this for years, and people don't believe it. Only fucking me. This shit happens to consistently. Again and again, and there's no anything that has to do with me and computers or anything fucking electronical. Things happen to me that fuck shit up, and until you've witnessed it, you don't believe it. Both of my wives, my first wife, my second one, they didn't believe it until it became part of their life, and then they saw it for themselves, and they're like, "Oh, yeah, wow, I don't get it. You're cursed." Or the first wife called me cursed. This one called me jinxie. Bottom line, and this shit's true. Anything I touch,
you're the wrench.
I break fucking everything, but here's the worst part. I'm careful with everything. That because I know that everything breaks, I treat everything like gold, and it still fucks up. But I mean, listen to this Tim Hortons app. Okay, so you got this app. Now, when you use the app, things are cheaper. All month along of October, every coffee is just $1. No matter what size, it's $1 coffees all month long, all October, but only on the app. So if you go in the drive-thru, if you go inside, it doesn't, even if you're a rewards member and you go in the drive-thru, but don't order on the damn app, it's fucking $2.25 for the coffee. Okay? So I use the app, and you get discounts, and every week they send you this, like there's a special this week, 99-cent muffin, buy one, get one free bagel, shit like that. So I need to use the app, and on top of it, I load the money into the app directly from my bank when I make the orders. It's easy. So all of a sudden, a couple weeks ago, this app just starts fucking up on me, where every time I order, and I primarily go to the place near my house and the place near my work. Every time I order, I'm about to hit send and hit drive-through and continue to load the money. It keeps saying, not available, mobile not available, or order can't be completed at this restaurant, go somewhere else. Or not go somewhere else, but loads. I forgot what the word is. Actually, I bet if I do it now, it'll say it. Hold on. Because it still doesn't fucking work. So now, okay, right now, pick up Meadow Drive, 9. Drive-through. Oh, sure. Now it works because I'm at home. Now it works. If I'm in the line, fucking, or in the parking lot, it won't work. Of course, it's doing this still, where it's loading, and nothing will just do anything. So I can't order, even though it's on 5G and it's in the house. There it is. Look, see that? What's it say?
Restaurant is unavailable.
I'm so pissed off.
You know what? All I would say, when that shit happens to me, which is seemingly less frequent, it seems, is I always Google, is there an issue with the Tim Hortons app? Anybody having issues with the Tim Hortons app?
Not.
And you just see. But if you can't find anything, I always try to search it up. And then usually you find someone saying, yeah, it's been acting up or it's been a pain in the ass or whatever. But if they're saying it's not you're the only one I've seen that with, then chances are they're not BSing you. It's just, why is it happening? Like, what's the
because
reason?
It's me. I don't question it anymore. This is just what it is. This is the life that I have been given, and it's okay. You deal the fucking deal. It's true. These are the cards you're dealt.
This is the life I've been given.
This is you deal the cards you're dealt. You can either be angry about it or you can just say, well, it's me. This is what the fuck happens. And here's the worst part. I set my alarm 15 minutes earlier today just to fucking rule anything out from happening. And I still ended up rushing. Oh, because of the dog, too.
But we're here and we're doing it. We're good. It's all good in the big picture.
Yeah, and again, that's tip of the iceberg. I didn't even get into my foot, my father, my mother, and the dog, and everything that's and my dog. I could go on for the next fucking 2 hours talking about fucked up shit that's happening. So that just goes to show you, this is what happens in life. These are the things. You can either let it get you down, or you can't. I might get angry temporarily. Anger is the one thing I can't control. That's my toughest thing. I'm okay with depression and sadness and other shit like that. I manage that well. Anger is my weakest fucking emotion to control.
But same because what happens is it'll just bubble up out of the blue just because you feel like, if I feel like I've gone out of my way, like what you're saying, if I feel like I've gone out of my way to make the situation right or comment and whatever, or if I feel like I've been treated wrong, my defense instantly drops and then I might lash out. But I will not just be a dick out of the blue. Out of the blue, I will not. But if I feel like we've been wronged or my family's been wronged, then I will go in a little bit aggressively because, like I do in the show, of whether it's because I've had a lot of coffee or whether it's like okay, hear me out. This is what's happened. Boom, 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 boom. I try to tell the story quickly so I'm not boring anybody, but they get the information. But if I feel like I've been given an obstacle or I guess just like a response that is like indifference, or that they turn it around and make, well, you're in the wrong, where I'm like, no. And then right away, it turns to rage. I know I'm bad that way. Right away. Quick example, my daughter went to get tattoos and piercings done she was going to go get them done. I may have even brought it up on the show back in August before she went to school, and paid online. Went online, prepaid for 2 sessions for $130. Dropped if I told you this, I apologize.
No.
She went to get it done. They hit traffic. They were 20 minutes late. She even texted the place to say, hey, we're running late. They got there. We said, we're sorry. The time frame involved is like, 45 minutes you bought to 2 sessions, but we cancel it after you're late after 15 minutes or whatever. She's like, what?
Wow.
But I'm not. No, but no refund.
Oh,
cancel away, but you have to give a refund. No refund. They keep the money. So she's with her friends. She calls me, and I'm like, when she was texting me, I'm like, oh, just ask for your money back. We'll reschedule. No, they won't give the money back. They say it's part of it's all labeled online, clear as day. I'm like, well, if you got 2 sessions, you're still early for the second session.
There you go.
So what are they doing? So I'm getting just as mad as I was when I was on the phone. So I said, let me call them. I started calmly. It was an intern on the phone, so I started very calmly, just getting the information out. He was gone. He's like, I have to pass the phone to somebody else because he could tell it was a next level sort of acceleration. Passed it to supposedly the manager. Out of the gate, this person was a little bit, I was already riled, but out of the gate, this person was a little more standoffish and said, nope, it's clear as day on the thing and whatever. I'm like, look, and I went in and that's all I needed to hear. And I'm not going to lie. I was absolutely an asshole. I went in, boom, 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 boom. But then she was twisting things around because I was saying, yeah, like, look, this can't be good for business. This is horrible. Like, why don't I come down there? She goes, oh, you're threatening me. I'm like, no. Like, I'm not, when I say coming down, I'm coming down to get a refund, but I didn't want to go. It was like a half an hour out of my way. And she's like, oh, you're threatening me now. I'm like, no, the only thing I'm threatening you with is a bad review. because this is just absolutely like horrible. You're ripping off my 18-year-old daughter. She was 18 at the time. My 18-year-old daughter, yes, she's an adult, but you're ripping her off. She came in thinking this was going to be a great experience and got fucked. $130 gone. I was so mad.
Oh.
I don't care what policy and procedure it is. Come on. And they're like, well, we might have done something well for you if you were more pleasant to deal with on the phone. So then she passed me on to supposedly the owner, and I reiterated everything, and she says, oh, I heard everything. And you're very lippy. I'm like, yeah, no, I was. I admit, I go, I'm not happy with how I acted to that second person. Talk to the intern that I spoke to first. Everything was going fine for that person. He then passed me to person B, and now I'm being as civil as I was with person A, but I'm just more riled up now because of how I had to deal with person B. I don't want to be a dick either. Trust me.
I know.
I don't want to get riled up. I don't want to be a dick. And I went on this way longer than I wanted to. But yes, the moral of the story is I put a bad review that I don't think anybody can see but me. That's the other thing about Google reviews. They make it look like it's gone out to the masses. I can see that review on my computer. If I go try to log in, because I've tried on anybody else's like Google, Chrome or whatever, it's non-existent, the review. Wow. And Google said it's posted. Google says, thank you for your review and feedback. You cannot see that review anywhere.
How long ago was it?
It was done at the very end of July, beginning of August. Like that, right? I think it was before the long weekend there, because it was before we went away to our cousin's cottage, cousin's house that's up in Cottage Country. That's where, and I remember going, oh, maybe it takes a while. And then of course I've cooled off. I'm like, oh, maybe I'll just delete the review. I'm like, screw that. No, but it's in cyber, it's in limbo. I can see it. It's posted if I look at it, but you cannot see it if anybody else going. And all I said is I feel like the only way to write this is to refund my daughter the money. I don't care. I can be called a jerk. I be called an asshole. I don't care. I was to that person. I openly admit it, that one person. And I always say I'm always nice. If I go out, I'm the nicest person. Unless you feel like you're being fucked. Like I'm never a dick.
I'm used to it.
I feel like I'm being fucked.
See, I never am anyway because I'm used to it though. Like this, you could talk to me, my brother Mike, and my friend Scott, and we always say it. It's the three of us. It's all we never get good service. We never get good this everywhere we go. This has been that way since we were children. So I don't expect good service ever. That's my attitude going anywhere. So anytime I get anything that's good, it seems so much better. And that's what always pissed me off. Every time I started a new job, it's always like customer service. And I'm like, man, everyone, how come I'm the only one that has to provide customer service? How come everywhere I go, I never get it? And it's true. I know it's so hard for me to get treated. And here's the part. I'm the sweetest guy. I don't do it. Like, remember that Best Buy story I told you? Yeah. Everything that happened. Okay. Yeah. Typical shit for me. Every little thing does this. I was not at any time. I think I told you I'd escalated, and by the time I got to like the fifth person, and then they told me that I was doing something wrong, and then I got a little not lippy, but then I raised my voice. I said, "Wait a minute!" I said this, and this, and then but it took me 5 people. You know what I mean? I'm never that way. Even this morning with all the people there. You know when I got mad? At first, when I first had to park my car and realized that I had to walk inside, limp inside, if you will, to go stand in a line in my slippers in front of all these fucking people because I'm the only asshole. That when that first happened, I got out of my car, I slammed my door, and I must have dropped 4 or 5 F-bombs to the air, to the world. This fucking shit, I can't fucking believe I gotta do it. That's how I rage. I do it to myself out in the, someone's looking at me that this guy's out of his mind. Well, but once I get inside.
If there was a camera on you, you probably would be, because I say the same thing. I'm like, holy fuck, if there was a camera on me right now. But it's the same, Dave. We're verbatim the way you're describing it is how I am, but it happens very infrequently. I usually get good customer, and I'm always it's always reciprocated because I always know I've lived that life, and I've always want to be treated like how you want to be treated, like we say. Yeah. But it's just like this time, I admit, person B in that phone call, that middle person, I was an absolute asshole. I unleashed fury and on them just because of the standoffish nature and the no. And I don't care what policy. I guess maybe piercing and tattoo places have a policy that no other industry follows. I can understand taking a deposit and losing a deposit, but losing the whole session and losing that whole bunch of money when there was still time left.
Right.
If you book 2 bookings, this is my argument. If you book 2 bookings and you're late for the first one, you still have a fucking second booking. So do one thing of work then, and make it at least good. They didn't. So we're still at $130. I'm still pissed. $130, and it's $130 for my daughter. So it's not like even I'd be mad if it came from me, but it's her money that she earned. So it's infuriating. But anyway, I'm trying to get over it. But like I could go right back into it and just be right. That's one great trait I've got. My wife says, you go back, tell a story, and get as enraged as you were when it actually happened to you.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
my father.
Passion.
My father's 84. If you ask him about when I had a party in my house when they left when they went to go see Super Bowl 25 in fucking 1991, he still gets mad to the point that he may want to fucking get up and leave the house if he's at my house, and it's disgusting. So you got nothing on him. It's fucking that guy. There's certain things you just don't even fucking bring up, because to this day, I never would have done that when I was your age. If my parents did this, I never would have thought to have people come into the house and trash it. To this day, you can't even fucking talk about it.
Oh man,
funny.
You know what the best part of the discussion is right now? The best part is Chris A.K. Scott's reaction, going, "What the fuck are they going to be talking about? Bad service all fucking show?" And I love it.
That's true.
I'm kidding.
Well, we haven't had a BS show in quite a while, but this is true BS. It's true BS. For the newer listeners, if you've made it this far, this is not a typical show whatsoever. This is us kicking back. Honestly, it was to make it easy for B, so he wouldn't have to watch a movie when he came on. I didn't try to do it if he did come on. I was like, okay,
fuck this. I'm getting enraged.
Right? I was like, let's make it as easy as possible. We won't do a review. We won't do this and that. Now, I did make sure that I watched, because of my foot. I'm not getting around. I didn't do anything yesterday. It sucks because the weather broke here finally. I wanted to cut the grass. I wanted to put up Halloween decorations. There's so many things I wanted to do because I don't do shit in the cold unless you're paying me. So I was like, this would have been perfect. You know what I mean? I could have done it. Irene's been gone all month as well. So it would have been perfect. And now my fucking foot's fucked and I got to stay off it till at least Wednesday. And then we take it from there. But,
So you caught up on some 2022.
I watched 4 movies. I would have made it to 5. It's just that I made the mistake of watching the foreign movie and the longer movie at the end of the night. Because once you start getting into the subtitles and depending on the pace of the stuff and everything else, it kind of makes you tired, especially if you've been sitting around all day. I kind of paced it weird, but I wanted to watch 4 different movies because I went on my watch list, right? I'm like, okay. I got all these things, like 4 or 5 of them were foreign movies, and I go, my God, it was early. I didn't want to deal with subtitles. Even though, here's the funny part, I use subtitles.
What were the foreign ones you watched? I know you do, and I'm sorry for interrupting, but what was the ones that kind of like just you ended the night with?
Or the one I ended the night with. Okay, here's what I did.
Go out of her. Start with the 3rd movie, then go to the 1st, then the 4th and 2nd. That's how I'd like it presented to us today.
Well, I had the watch list. Yeah, I had the watch list, and the movies on there. 4 of them were foreign, and I said I'm only going to watch 1 foreign movie, but I'm going to wait because I didn't want to do it at the beginning of the day. And then the first movie ended up having an effect on me, where the next movie I just wanted to be straightforward, serious horror. And then after that movie ended, then I said, okay, there was a reason for me to go from one to the other. You know what I'm saying? Then I was going to watch one with Frankie that I've been putting off for a while because she wanted to watch it. Then she ended up not. That's a whole other fucking story. And then by the time that happened, I said, okay, now I'll watch this. So what I watched yesterday. Okay. Deadstream, The Righteous, Fall, and Incantation. And then I watched You Are Not My Mother before that, the day before, and whatever. But I've been, right now for 2021 movies, 2022, I am now at, 42 movies. I'm at 42, so I'm doing pretty good. I think it's 42. Let's see, hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, I'm at 42. So I'm probably going to go over the 52. I still haven't seen The Sadness. I still haven't seen The Black Phone. I haven't seen Black Glasses yet, whatever the hell the Argento is. Mm-hmm. And I'm obviously going to. I just been putting them off. And
someone put a post about Black Glasses. I don't know who this person is, but he was on my friend list. But I have no clue who they are. They said, Black Glasses was horrible. I wish Argento would die because, or whatever, something like that. And I'm like, that's a fucking horrible post.
Asshole.
Like an assholey post. And again, this is beyond liking the film or not liking the film. That's a fucking horrible post, whether you're joking or not. Because, I've said this for the last few movies. I actually didn't mind Black Glasses. It's not great, but it's totally passable, totally watchable. But it's not great, but I enjoyed it for what it is.
Are you expecting great?
No, if I would have liked great, like you want great anything. But I didn't mind it. And it wasn't garbage. But yeah, I can see people being disappointed, but to make a comment like that was fucking horrible. And again, I didn't engage because I didn't want to get enraged.
Why even bother?
Yeah, I'm like, well, I just said to myself, stupid post, moved on. And I just spun, like, I guess what you're supposed to do.
It's like a dog barking.
That's like fucking super. Yeah.
That's what I consider. It's like walking by a house and some asshole dog barking at you. What are you going to do? Turn around and bark back at him? It's not going to solve anything. You're just going to get more mad. The dog's going to get mad, or you're going to get fucked. Just let the dog bark and get the fuck on your way. That's all you can do. Because why even? It's silly. So I forgot what the hell. Oh, so Argento. Dave watched it. Parker. I think Brandon watched it. I'm pretty sure that JP watched it. Maybe Carly. Honestly,
they all liked it, right? Yeah.
Yeah, they all did like it. Yeah. So I mean, with that knowledge, and this is what I said. Argento for me always gives me a 6 or better. So as long as he keeps having that, I'm fine. I'm going in not expecting anything special. Anything since the 2010s onward. I'm not expecting fucking Tenebrae. Excuse me, but I'm not. Just give me something that I don't regret spending my time with, and maybe I get some Argento-isms in there.
And he did give you Argento-isms, and that's exactly why it's good. Right. I mean, I'm also, I like Giallo. I actually didn't mind that one.
Liked it too.
As well. And so like if you set the expectation, I think more realistically, you'll be pleasantly surprised. It's kind of on that level. Like I said, I think I quickly talked about it, but I didn't go into too much detail because you hadn't seen it yet. And I just said, there's a kid that could have been in it less, but there's some gory kills. Like,
okay. Well.
And there's, some good aspects to it. Like, I was happy with my time with it. I was going to see if I could find that post, but I mean, I summed it up, and I don't know that. Like I said, I don't even know the person, but
fuck them. That's what
I don't even know how I'd find the post, because I find if it's nobody that I actually give a fuck about.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you this about yesterday. Every movie I watched, the lowest was a 6, the highest was an 8.5, and you would be surprised at what was the 6. What all the ratings? These were I'll tell you what they were.
Well, I might not 6, be surprised. It was Deadstream was your 6, right? I can't believe it. It's my worst
movie of the year by rating. This is the only one I've had this low. Prior to this,
didn't like it. Funny enough.
Well, prior to this, well, hold on now. You know me. First of all, prior to this, I had 3 6.5s as my lowest. This movie, after an hour, I wanted it to end, and I love you know me. It's a found footage movie. It's done this way. I was excited because I heard you loved it. B loved it. Somebody else, people were talking. I'm like, okay. I was gonna wait because I tend not to watch the movies that just dropped, because these are the ones I watched. I told you, Deadstream, Righteous, Fall, Incantation. Fall and Incantation had been out a bit. The Righteous, I'm not exactly sure when it came out. It's been on my watch list in a while, and I finally watched it. And so I don't know how long. I tend not to watch the movies that just came out. I want to go back and then kind of work my way through it in a semblance of order of release, because I just didn't want to come on here and talk about I'm watching what everybody else is watching, because you could get that anywhere. I was going to talk about other things. Everybody's watching the Netflix. Everyone's watching the damn Shudder movies as soon as they drop. It's just the way it is, and that's fine. I mean, some of them are good, so be it. But I didn't want to just get in here and talk about the last 4 Shudder movies. But those are the 4. Now Deadstream. God, what can I say? I figured it out too fucking soon. As soon as a character showed up and something happened, I was like, okay, well, now I know what's going on here. And that wasn't that. I can't talk about it without spoiling. That is the problem. But okay, without getting into spoilers, everything was so predictable and contrived. I couldn't fucking believe the execution of it. And not even just that. That's the shit that bothered me. But I don't know if this was done on purpose, but something about the actor. I felt like I was watching like there was some things that were done for laughs, and that's fine. Some of that was genuinely funny, but every time he got scared and the way he acted, he wasn't trying to be funny. But for some reason, as I'm watching it, it kept feeling, maybe it's the tone of his voice or just the way his voice sounds. I kept feeling like I was watching like an SNL skit, because even when he was scared, the way he acted and the way his voice sounded and stuff, it seemed like comedy to me. But I could tell that's not what they were going for. He was actually that's just this actor.
He's the writer and director as well, and the star. And my one critique was that he was very successful delivering the comedy, less successful with the scares. I don't disagree with you, but it didn't bother me from the way the movie flew. It was so fast paced, and even the predictability of it. It was the execution. It's actually probably my favorite script of the year. From the banter, the comedy.
Script. Oh
yeah, from the lines that the lines that the viewers, the lines that the viewers. There's so much.
Some of that was good. Yeah,
I was laughing my fucking head off. Like there was some really good shit there. So again, I can understand. I'm not usually a found footage person, but because of the way this was packaged and everything else, and the way that he did it was great. But because it's a one-person show, I thought for the most part he did well. It may have been better served if they had someone slightly more seasoned in that role to deliver the scare aspect, because I don't necessarily disagree with you, Dave. I see what you're saying there. But it only hindered my enjoyment of it a little bit, because there's always something sort of coming up and keeping it going. But
right, but it didn't make sense. That's the problem.
Yeah.
It didn't make, well, I can't say it without being spoilery, but the things that happened because they were predictable was one thing, but it didn't make sense either. Like I think I could do this without being, if someone is a ghost, okay, hold on. Let's say Chris, aka Scott, is really a fucking ghost, and he's a ghost. He doesn't even exist. He's in a fucking haunted house. He's in a fucking house somewhere where nobody's been, and he's a fucking entity that goes back to the fucking 1200s, and he's a ghost, but we've never talked to him specifically, so we don't know. Why would he, and let's say we were why would he be a follower of our show? Because he thinks that maybe one day on some off chance we are going to go into his fucking haunted house and interact with him? That doesn't make a fucking lick of sense. You can't use that as a fucking plot device. Oh, yeah, I bet you know me. I'm Chris A.K. Scott. I've been following your show, blah, 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 blah. Okay, well, why? Why did you think that I was going to be the one? Actually. Okay, that's just one thing. And then let's say later on, Chris A.K. Scott's mother, who he happens to live within this haunted house, it goes back to some other fucking time period, same as him. And when you see her, you see somebody outside the house at one point, and it's actually a modern day like a clown, like the way a clown would dress in 2022. You saw them, and at no point is it ever fucking referenced that person was a clown in any fucking aspect of life, or did anything involving fucking clowns or circuses or anything. That's the best way I can put it, involving a couple ghost situations from this film, that if you think about it for more than 2 seconds, it's like, that makes no fucking sense why that would happen and how this would come to be. That was my problems.
And okay, and so be it. That's fine. I almost need Jason Smith here to help me defend it, or Brandon for that matter. But I mean, ultimately, I had a really good time. It's as it stands right now. I don't know where it ranks. It's in my top 10 for sure as of right now. But
man,
I just thought it was just a hell of a lot of fun. And I came off of watching, it was the movie I watched right after Hellraiser. And Hellraiser, I was like lukewarm on.
Wow.
Like, I was lukewarm on Hellraiser.
I can't believe it.
Just not.
It gave me everything I wanted in a Hellraiser movie, and then some.
I'm not saying anything. I'm not saying that the person that plays the Hell Priestess or Pinhead in this one is bad. I'm not saying she's bad. Her. But come on. Let's fucking bring it down to reality. She didn't do anything. There was nothing that she did. She's covered in a ton of fucking makeup that anybody can get up in. And the performance is neither here nor there. It's no different than, what's his name, Jackie Earl, whatever, and Freddie with the voice being deepened. And then they just put some synthetic voice that they play around in post-production. There's no personality there. Why are people blowing this? No, but that's what I'm saying. There's nothing.
I don't want that personality. Don't try to out Pinhead. Don't try to fucking do it, Doug Bradley.
and the other ones just looked like offshoots of Hell on Earth. Like
they were, and it was great. You didn't love. I loved every Cenobite. Loved them. Loved the way they looked. Loved the way they talked. Loved the way the fucking cameras. Wow.
So sluggishly paced. Characters that they give no shit about. At least they went down. Wow. I wish they took the adult. Talked about. I know we said remake it. If you're gonna remake it. This is just plays like a sequel. No, this just plays like some sort of sequel. There's no aspect of a remake.
Yeah, like Evil Dead. Like the Evil Dead one did. You could have called it but we love that too for the same reason. Like it's a remake, so to speak. It could be a sequel, but they and this is what I always say. They paid tribute to the original, but still put their own fucking twist on it. To me, that's how you do it.
But that one had a group of kids going up to a cabin and dealing with demonic presence. This literally just felt like another sequel. And don't get me wrong, it is the best, but I'm actually a little bit like I guess it's like I like the first 4 Hellraisers. 3 a little bit lesser, but I actually am a Halloween Hellraiser Bloodlines, apologist, even though it's a messy movie. I liked it. I liked it at the time.
I'm okay with it.
Theater, I like it. But this is like on the realm of those ones. So I don't hate the movie. I was just 6 out of 10.
Fuck, it fucking blew me away. I watched it twice in fucking 2 days.
Oh,
I loved it. I loved the way it looked. The opening.
People you don't give a shit about, and then because you don't give a shit about them, by the time the end happens, you don't give a shit about them.
I loved her.
And it just seemed like no connection. Like I don't know. Everybody says, "Oh, remember you didn't really care. There wasn't much character development in the first one." I'm like, really? I don't know. The first one's a 10 out of 10 for me. And yeah, I'm not saying that there's aspects of it that are bizarre, and we've talked about it on this show, so you can go listen to that episode. From episode 30 or whatever it was. It was a while ago. And ultimately get our take on that. But yeah, I just didn't see this as any major improvement on, definitely major improvement on all the ones that followed. I'd say maybe it's my third favorite, maybe tied with my third or fourth.
Oh, well, yeah, of course. Yeah. It's after 1 and 2. Obviously, it's my third favorite. It's not going to be better than 1 and 2. That's absurd.
But I'm in the 6 range at that point. Alrighty.
Oh.
Yeah, so
not for this one.
1 and 2, and then in 6 range, like for pretty much else. So yeah, I wasn't blown away. It didn't blow my skirt up.
Wow, man, I fucking loved the aesthetic of it. I loved everything they did with the fucking the lament configuration. And
the fucking wind-up toy guy. My God, that was ridiculous. Yeah, the guy that fucking is like a wind-up toy at the end, like with that thing rolling around inside him at the end. It's fucking redonkulous. Yes, I said redonkulous. The main character, the main bad guy that disappears for the whole duration of the movie, and he's hiding out in the fucking walls.
Oh yeah, that thing. Yeah. Uh-huh. That's just
stupid.
Yeah. Oh, why? Oh, I can't even get into it without spoiling it.
It's just so silly.
Silly, huh? Well, he was at his own house. He went missing and he hid. That's all. Like, he was fucked up. What could he do?
At the beginning, I was giddy. I love what they were doing with the puzzle box and whatever. It just did not do. Overall, I was like my sense of well, I'm not really on board with these characters, but it's okay. Maybe I'll get there. And I'm like, wow, they really didn't. The brother you could give a fucking shit about. They kind of make him somewhat likable because he cares about his sister. Then he's gone. And so you don't give a fuck. Like they just didn't give you any weight. All this time spent on developing characters. And yet you don't care about the fucking characters, really.
I did care about her, though.
Well, you did. I think they could have done some more with the brother because that's the whole catalyst to get them out and figure out what the fuck happened. I don't know. It seemed there's a component missing. And with the time that they allowed for the movie, they had the time to develop it. They could have. So Bill Castanelli doesn't get mad at me. Not should have done this, but they could have done something differently.
Yeah.
With that, of course, I mean, you could say that with anything, but I'm just saying.
I don't want them to.
I'm saying keep the story from me. Well, I know I'm in the minority. Yeah. It seems. I don't watch them too, but I was not like I don't hate the film by any means, but I just don't understand. Like, yeah, okay, sure, it gave us a different take. I don't even understand. They could have easily had Doug Bradley in that. And it wouldn't
have fit this movie. I wouldn't want Doug Bradley in this. I like what we have with these Cenobites. It's a whole different fucking thing.
She was the
presentation.
Cartoon. It was a cartoon. Okay, personality or not, there's just nothing. I was just like, why is everybody praising this? Why is everybody like, not the movie, her, like just her. Like, I'm not nothing against her. She's great.
Because we've seen other people try it and try to do a Doug Bradley and they can't. I thought she did perfect. I fucking thought it was great.
I don't think there's anything that. Well, I guess where I'm going with it is there's nothing there to base any perfect or I just was like, there's nothing of substance here for me to actually give a shit. Like, I can't comment so much. Like, I'm more perplexed as to what the reaction is based on what I've seen on the screen of why people are going goo goo gaga over. Because I'm like, there's nothing there.
What about the lines and stuff? What is it that you pray for? Oh, I fucking dude. No, watch it again. Maybe you'll like it more.
I don't know. Maybe, but I don't know. That's when I started falling out. I'm like, oh man. I was like the puzzle box and whole opening. I'm like, yes. And then I'm like, oh, these characters, not so much. But we'll see. Oh, I'm not enjoying this. What's happening here?
You didn't like the Cenobites?
Oh, I heard. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be good. No, I'm not really enjoying this. What's happening?
Damn.
Why is this falling off the rails for me? Why is everybody praising this new hell priestess? And I was not something. But again, I came in at a 6. I think that was whether it's low for some people, but I don't hate the film. I just was very, very underwhelmed overall.
A lot of people were, and I was surprised. I don't know. I fell for it right away. I fucking loved it. Yeah, they don't even call her the priestess. They just call her the priest because it's androgynous. It's not supposed to be. It's just the priest. That's what she's credited as. That's what the character is called in the movie. Yeah. It's just the priest. I mean, it'll always be lead Cenobite to me because of Hellraiser 1, and that's what Barker himself categorized it as. Of course, they call it the Hell Priest in the movie. In the book, in the Hellbound Heart. You know. But man, I loved all the Cenobites. I loved the new ones. I loved the takes on the old ones. What they did with the Chatterer was cool. That new one, the Weeper, was fucking awesome. Man, I loved their presentation. I guess you just didn't get into that part. I don't know. I was all about
I think I was out by that point. So then I'm like, oh, okay.
Oh, wow. I think he's 3 for 3. Fucking Bruckner with freaking The Ritual and fucking The Night House in this one. I don't know. Actually, some of this stuff reminded me of
The Ritual and The Night House, and I said, I was lukewarm. Like I said, it was all right. Just like I'd say, like a mild rumble, like is where I'd fall based on that.
Fuck, yeah, it's fucking full head explosion.
No, I know, I know a lot of people that really liked it, but again, I think what happened was there was this divisiveness you're seeing online, and then all of a sudden Halloween Ends came out, and then there was no mention of Hellraiser anymore because everybody just fucking went nuts.
Of course,
on Halloween Ends.
It erased everything. It erased all the monsters hate and fucking everything else with that. And
it just absorbed all the negativity of the world.
It is a franchise film after all that is going to happen. Yeah. We know it's going to happen. But and so be it. So be it. It's not for everybody, but whatever.
Like I said, enjoyed Texas Chainsaw reigns supreme, and I really enjoyed Texas Chainsaw. Yeah. I really enjoyed it, but I mean, all the other ones of this year, Scream was a 6, Hellraiser was a 6, Halloween Kills was a 7, or Halloween Ends, was a 7, and I think I gotta watch the new Texas Chainsaw again. I think I have that at 7.5. As for my last watch. So as of right now,
I will tell you. Yeah, I won't even tell you because that gives it all away. I liked them all. They were all at least a 7 to me, at least a 7. And yeah, Hellraiser is my favorite of them all. Honestly, it's definitely the one I rate the highest. Fuck, just talking about it, I want to watch it again. I'm really into it. Yeah. So now, did you watch? Did you see any of the other ones that I had? Did you see You Are Not My Mother or the Righteous or Fall or Incantation?
Incantation I saw. I didn't see any of the other ones.
Okay, and Incantation. What did you think?
I liked it. I liked that a lot too. That one I have to give another watch because I was like, "Whoa, this is a lot heavier than I was expecting it to be." Right. I really liked the presentation of it as well, and there was a really creepy scene in a bedroom that I remember. But I watched this a little while ago on a trip, and I was on the plane when I was watching it, and I remember falling asleep, so I ended up having to go back, stop it, then I watched it. So I watched it in like 3 chunks. Not too fair to the movie, so I got to go back to the movie again. But I do remember I did like it. I did like that. Because it's told. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it's told in found footage, but it's also shot like there's found footage aspects. There's a whole thing, camera recordings and whatever. I thought it was intercut with some stuff that was camera recordings and some stuff that's just regular shooting.
I think it's all supposed to be, but maybe not. Maybe you're right. Maybe there are some regular.
I got to go back. I'm going.
I think you're right. Yeah, because when she visits the doctor and stuff, why would that be on camera? So probably. You're probably right. It's probably just mostly found footage. The thing is this, something about the Asian found footage movies, the ones that we get to see, they're always pretty good. We got, the original ones that we saw, the Norai, the Curse, and then of course, the Wailing last year, and then this one, and then there was that other one which was really good that had that cool ending. What the fuck was that one when the guy was carrying the camera around and the guy had that really cool Lovecraftian fucking ending? Oh, what the hell was that from a couple years ago? Damn it.
Well, not the VHS second segment from.
Oh, Record of Sweet Murderer. That one.
Oh, I didn't see that one. That was the one you raved about. That was the one I hadn't seen. I think you and Watson raved about that, I believe.
That was good.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. But in this one, I think what happened was this on your list to watch like 6 months ago?
Pardon me?
Incantation. Was this on your list to watch 6 months ago?
Oh, yeah, because it came out on Netflix. I just waited.
So the reason I say that is because you put your list of what you had your to watch list, and I thought it was your watch list. So I'm like, and Dave was raving about these movies. So that's how I found out about Incantation. It wasn't even on my radar, even though it was on Netflix. It wasn't on my radar. So I saw it on your list way back when, and I watched it. But it was back in the summer that I saw it.
Yeah, it's been out a bit.
Yeah. I got to give it another watch because if I had I'd say like a half head, but because I liked it, but I didn't love it. But I mean, again, I remember liking it, but in 3 segments, I did watch it, like in 3 sessions.
No, I hear you. Well, it was long. The thing is, I enjoyed it. It was longer than it needed to be, though. And the pacing was a little irregular. You know what the word is, I guess? It was kind of unevenly paced, I would say. And I think that works against it a little bit. I think you could have taken this same thing, and I know they wanted to make it an emotional story about the mother and the daughter, and I get that, and it did resonate with me about what she was trying to do. And I think that they focused more on that aspect of the story as opposed to the scares and the background stuff, which is fine. I just think they could have condensed it a little better. And I'm not complaining because they went back and forth between the present and the past. That's typical, and I'm fine with it. I mean, that's Ju-on completely. So that's all good. I love it. But the thing is, I think it was like an hour and 50 minutes or whatever. I think they could have done it in like an hour and 35 and could have condensed it. And everything is there. Everything is there. What we got, the presentation itself, there's a little bit to be desired. But I still enjoyed it. It's still, I'd give it, I don't know exactly. I'm just saying I did enjoy it. It's not going to be a top 10, but I saw it, and it was fine. So.
And the, what other one? What did I see? I watched the Terror Train remake.
Oh God, did you? I'm sure
that poster's horrible. That poster's horrible. And listen, I've never been, I know everybody loves this classic slasher. I've always been lukewarm on the original. I think people blow it because Jamie Lee Curtis is in it and it takes place on a train. 2 great elements of the movie, and David Copperfield in it, but I've always just been kind of like, yeah, it's all right. I've never been blown away by that film.
Think about when it came out.
Yeah, I mean,
it was...
It's all right. It's all right. Now, this remake plays like every fucking Tubi original that I've seen so far. Like a made-for-TV movie. Yeah, the acting's a little sketchy. The effects are not all that great. It's totally unnecessary. But I watched the whole thing. Mm-hmm. So it's not good. It's not good, but I watched it. It was a brainless popcorn movie, but not even I would not even give it an enjoyable level. It's I watched the original, I guess, is the be all end all, even though I'm not like I said, I'm not heavy on that. At least it's a 6.5 out of 10 at the very least based on last watch. Whereas this is probably like a 3 or 4 out of 10.
Yeah, no, I feel you. I mean, wow. Yeah, I never was going to watch it. I never was going to watch that Slumber Party remake. I would probably rather watch the other Terror Train remake before this one.
Train. And I like that.
Yeah,
I actually didn't
2008.
mind that.
Nobody talks about that one. Nobody.
Yeah, I actually didn't mind that.
Yeah.
And Goodnight Mummy remake. It's funny, the last two movies were remakes, and I watched Goodnight Mummy. And again, the reason I watched that is because I really enjoyed the original, but also Naomi Watts was Mother in this.
Right.
I love Naomi Watts. I love
Me
her.
too.
So then I watched it. Did you see this?
I didn't bother with it though, even with
It's kind of unnecessary. I don't blanketly say that about remakes. I'm not one that say, it's a remake, it's totally unnecessary. But the problem with this is with the twist being what it is in the original, it's very difficult to that you just see it out of the gate here. And the performance, I can't blame Naomi Watts for this because I think she's a great actress. She does not come across as a great actress in this movie. And I think that's the script and the forced direction just not allowing her to be a great actress. So she's executive producer of this movie too. She wanted this movie to get made. But if you haven't seen the original, maybe you'll be pleasantly surprised. But I thought it just put too much of a spotlight on what one of the twists are in the movie out of the gate, where you're just like, if I showed my wife this and with her not seeing the original, she'd be like, oh my God, it's so obvious that this is what's happening. Now, my only thing is I cannot remember the end of the original one 100% in my head. I remember certain things that happened, but not remember all of it. So when this happened, I'm like, did they switch something up at the end? I can't 100% remember. I'd have to go back to the original. That's the only thing that I would have to check. But it's definitely a pass. It's just sort of middle of the road. Nothing great about it. It's just there. It just exists.
That's what I figured. That's why I didn't watch it. Now, if it would have been Nicole Kidman, I would have watched it regardless. Doesn't matter. I like Naomi Watts, but I love Nicole Kidman more. So if it was Nicole Kidman in this movie, that would have been enough for me to watch it because I think her presentation, especially because it's kind of a subdued character, I would have liked to see that. I'm just really into fucking Nicole Kidman, period. So she would have been enough to get me in. Naomi Watts, I really dig.
Nicole Kidman's period. That's sick, Dave.
What period? Oh, yes, I would Midsommar. Yeah. If she gave me the alternative, even at her age of 53, whatever she is now, and Midsommar was the proposed thing, I would take it for a night. Yep, I would. I'm into her. But I'm into her acting just as much. It isn't that I just.
Well, Naomi Watts is in The Watcher, and we watched the first episode of that, Carrie and I. I really enjoyed that. Okay. That's Ryan Murphy just directed that. That's another Ryan Murphy. He directed the first episode of that. It's on.
Just the first episode? Is it one of his shows?
I think it's one of his shows. Yeah.
Wait a minute.
A lot of people have been talking about it.
I thought it was. I know it wasn't a movie.
More thriller. It's based on a true story as well. I think I actually saw a documentary on what this true story is about, on one of those. Again, the premise. Yeah. Well, maybe I won't say the premise if you want to just check it out for yourself.
No. Brennan and Murphy, created by, written by. What channel is this on? Well, it doesn't matter. I'll see.
It's on Netflix.
Okay, I'll see it on my thing.
Netflix or Prime, but I'm almost positive it was Netflix. Netflix. Excuse me.
Drama, horror, mystery. Good enough. I'm watching it. Thank you. How the fuck did I miss out on this? Yeah, I'm not missing a Ryan Murphy vehicle.
We just watched the first episode yesterday, and it's Naomi Watts and Bobby.
Fuck.
And he's great in it. And what was the Italian guy, Castelloni or whatever his name is. The worst for names.
Castellano? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. He was in Nurse Jackie, and you'll know him when you see him. Good actor, and so far so good. One episode in.
Shit.
It's actually got a stellar secondary cast. Like know everybody that's in it from something.
I'm looking at them.
Even Mia Farrow is in it.
Mia Farrow's in it?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, that's pretty cool. Nice. I'm interested in that. I'll definitely check it. We got to finish Dahmer first. We got to finish. What else is on now? American Horror Story started. Wait a minute. Yes, American Horror Story has started. New York, I believe, is what it's called. See, I stay in the dark as much as I can. Next episode, Wednesday, October 26th. Okay, so let's see. What are we on? 1, 2. Okay, so we're 2 in. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's going to be 10. Okay. I may or may not watch them as they go. 6-3 and a 6-8
as it comes.
Maybe. Binge. I mean, we'll see what happens when the wife is here. What'd you say? Bobby Lowe.
Yep, Bobby Lowe.
Binge.
Bobby Lowe.
Bobby Lowe. So Terror Train. I wanted to say something about this. Do you realize that the first slashers that came out? First of all, how about this one? Did you know that Maniac premiered at a festival in May before fucking Friday the 13th came out? So Maniac came out before Friday the 13th. So Friday the 13th, you cannot say inspired fucking Maniac. It was one of the, And so now Friday comes out in May, okay? In July, Prom Night comes out. So Prom Night, and you could tell when you watch Prom Night, even though it's a slasher, it's not like a Friday the 13th type slasher. Mm-hmm. It's more like a 70s film. You know what I mean? So there was already plans for Jamie Lee Curtis to do another slasher, right? There had to have been, because like I said, Friday came out in May. I don't think, unless they got word that there was a slasher named Friday the 13th being filmed, let's make one now, maybe. But I'm saying Friday came out in May, Prom Night in July, then this is what comes out next. Funeral Home comes out in August. He Knows You're Alone comes out in August. You have to assume that the movies that came out in August, with Friday coming out in May, are not a direct result of the success of fucking Friday the 13th. You know what I'm saying? May, June, July, August? I mean, I don't know.
You mean they didn't go into production? That's what we've argued even when we were talking, I think, the slasher show. Halloween laid the ground, the blueprint, the gravel. Of course, we've argued Black Christmas, but I'm talking about Black Christmas. I think it was a quieter film in the sense of like Halloween is what probably put the spotlight back on the Black Christmas. And from a retrospective standpoint, we're like, holy shit, this movie came out years before. And obviously it was an inspiration, whatever, but whatever it may be, Halloween came out, was a huge success. Friday the 13th amidst being a total ripoff of that. But we already know that there are probably other people that were trying to rip it off or play off the success of it as it was happening. And then the only thing I could say is that Friday the 13th, the ad, remember the story that they pulled out an ad in Variety the year before to get to prompt it. But no one knew anything about it at that particular point. They just knew it was coming out, and that was it. I figure that you're right, that some of these may have been rushed in production because of it, but you're talking about a May release for Friday, and then Terror Train came out on October 3rd.
Yeah.
And we already had Good Night to All, right? That came out earlier.
To All a Good Night came out fucking...
Good Night to All.
Good Night to All. Yeah, it came out fucking... It came out in fucking January.
Yeah.
January of 1980. Not the end of fucking 80, like Friday and everything else that followed. To All a Good Night came out in fucking January. That's what I'm saying. That's why I give it those props, because, you know, it set a formula that maybe or maybe not Friday the 13th was aware of. I don't know. But yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So after Friday, these are the ones that came directly after. Maniac was already out. Prom Night, Funeral Home, and He Knows You're Alone, July and August. Terror Train, October. Then that was it. And then when February came around of 81, that's when shit went fucking bananas. But it makes sense.
Yeah.
May, June, July, August, September. I mean, it's what, you know what I mean? 7 months later. And then it was Bloody Valentine, Final Exam, Funhouse, Eyes of a Stranger, Graduation Day. Boom, 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 boom. They all started coming out. You know what I mean?
It was another Canadian film. So it was the remake, actually. They were both produced in Canada, or co-production at the very least. Like, it was funny. The Canadian market really jumped on other than Friday, maybe that's why Friday the 13th was so popular, is it was the one that Halloween was American, Friday the 13th was American, but like Prom Night, Terror Train, Happy Birthday to Me, My Bloody Valentine, all Canadian or co-productions. And there's many more, as we talked about in whether it was in the slasher film or even the Canadian edition of episode 29, where we did the ABC or the BCD shows. Right. And ultimately, I did the focus on Canadian horror there and talked about the slasher boom there, because there's a lot of Canadian slashers that came out. So
it was cheaper to film them there too. I mean, that's half the reasoning right there. Let's go here. Why not? You know what I mean? They wanted to make them cheap as possible.
The goal was like, you have like, okay, Halloween was like a house and it took place on Halloween. Friday the 13th took it to the forest, which was an awesome setting. And that's why there's so many rip-off ones and so many slashers that take place in a forest, and why we love it. And I still love it to this day. And then, or the cabin type feel. And then you've got, so I give like instead of a house or a forest, you got the prom for prom night. You've got the train for Terror Train. I give it credit for trying to come up with its own location. I just didn't. I feel like the pace is a little off. But again, it's at least different from like the carbon copy ones that came after. But again, my big favorite of all those ones are again My Bloody Valentine, which once again was like had its own unique, cool setting and cool character. Like the mask and the whole look of that character is really kind of stands out comparatively to what you got from all the other ones.
Well, what about the revenge aspect? And I'm not talking the revenge of a Friday the 13th reveal. I'm talking about the revenge of the way they did it in prom night. Wasn't it vengeance for something that happened to somebody's brother or sister?
Someone's sister, yeah. Sister died, and then and
then he avenged it. Yeah. Okay. Terror Train. Was that the first one where somebody was avenging something that happened to themselves?
Like a prank? Probably from a prank standpoint, maybe. Because when did Slaughter High came out way later.
Oh, there's so many ones that came out.
No. To All Good Night was a fraternity prank that went wrong.
It was a mother again, just like Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
But
it was a prank. Remember, it was a really badly filmed girls' not correctional facility.
I just watched it.
Like it was like a girls' what are they like a
dormitory?
It was a dormitory, but it was like it took place almost like it was a
school,
like a finishing school to be proper or prim and proper. I don't know.
Correct.
And they chased her up the stairs, and they're wearing the Santa hat or whatever, and carrying the axe.
That's right.
And dies.
So there was a mother.
It's really horribly shot, but that's the opening to set it up, and then boom, we're into it.
So Terror Train was the first one where somebody avenged themselves, correct? Because it was a mother in Friday, it was a mother in the other one, it was a brother in fucking prom night, funeral home, and He Knows You're Alone. I can't remember the reveals. I don't know, but Terror Train may have been the first one where they avenged their own self, their fucking what happened to them. My Bloody Valentine.
How many more of those? Because even My Bloody Valentine is similar. Like it's
vengeance for a father.
Vengeance for a father, but he was also traumatized himself. But I mean, I guess it's still vengeance for the father. But I mean, Slaughter High is the only other one that's coming to mind. Why out of the gate?
That's so much later though. So hold on. You got My Bloody Valentine. You got Final Exam, which I can't remember the reveal.
No, that's like the nobody killer. That's like the one the killer just sort of pops up, causes some havoc, and then is gone. It's like just an escaped mental patient. Done.
Funhouse.
If I remember it correctly.
Funhouse. They killed his father, but I don't think that was the reason behind it. Either way, no, he killed his father. So no, bad place at a bad time. Eyes of a Stranger. Can't remember what the reason was. How about Graduation Day? That was another one. I think that was avenging a son.
Yeah.
I think.
I always forget that reveal. I remember it being
really cool because it's what's her name? It's Rotanya Alda, fucking from Nightmare 2 or Nightmare 2, Amityville 2. I gotta watch it again because I gotta feature one of these on my next on my slasher fucking segment, and I have to have a reason to highlight it. So I'm trying to find a reason to do it. But I mean, vengeance. Okay, Grad Day. It's something like that. The Burning. He is avenging himself. Straight up.
Yeah, that's the other one. I can't believe I forgot.
Happy Birthday to Me. I got them all here. Happy Birthday to Me. Yeah. Vengeance for. Wait a minute.
Her sister.
Wasn't it?
No.
Her sister. Okay, sibling, twin sister died, right? Okay. Yeah. Friday 2. Well, vengeance for his mother. He comes back. Hell Night.
And himself. Hell Night is just crazy people, isn't it? In the house.
Yeah, he's left behind. He's fucked up.
Based on the family. Yeah, it's crazy.
Night School. Can't remember the Night School.
I forget all the Night School was another female slasher though, so I just can't remember what they were what the reasoning was.
The Prowler.
Well, he got the Dear John letter, so he was heartbroken. So he comes back to.
He didn't want them to have a dance. Yeah. Was that the reason? What the fuck was the reason?
I forget. Like he comes back, he's broken up, and he comes back, but she must have died or something like that. I don't know why he goes on a killing spree.
I gotta look at it again. I can't remember. Halloween 2. Well, that just picks up one. Just Before Dawn.
crazy backwoods
Okay.
characters. They're killing right out of the gate, to be honest.
Don't Go in the Woods.
Oh, fuck that
That's
movie. I don't remember that.
That's
movie.
everything from 1981. Everything I just said was all the 80 and 81 slashers. So after that, we'd have to look further. But it seems like all the early ones were straight revenge only. I mean, I got to look at Funeral Home and He Knows You're Alone, see what the deal was. But Terror Train, Bloody Valentine, Not Final Exam, Graduation Day, Burning, Happy Birthday to Me, Prom Night, fucking Terror Train. Well, of course, in Friday in them. I mean, Maniac, there's no revenge. But if you look at the grand scheme of things, Maniac doesn't, honestly, if you're really fucking getting to it, Maniac does not fit the criteria of an actual slasher.
It just falls in the time frame of when slashers came out. And it was a very brutal, graphic movie. So it's just easy to push it into that bucket. And then there's a lot of other movies that were more like thrillers that they're like, well, let's latch onto the slasher sort of bandwagon and then make the kills a little bit more gruesome, like that 10 to Midnight that Brandon always brought up that freaked him out with Charles Bronson. Even Eyes of a Stranger, I don't think was meant to be as graphic as it was going to be. And then they went back and they made it more graphic.
They were mysteries or American Giallo.
Yeah, or something like a little bit more, I think just more thriller-esque.
Yeah.
And then they decided to spice it up a little bit. And again, I'm playing with this. I've been going by from memory and what I've read. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was always supposed to be just maybe a tamer one. They said that we're going to go back and make it gorier. But I just remember some of these were not supposed to be so graphic. But it's weird because you feel like there's more, but it's because it continued in 82 and 83 and 84. It was like just this continuous.
You know what it is?
It's the longest running subgenre that even though you're getting the same movie over and over again, didn't run out of steam. Like we got Saws every year, but we got one thing is Saws and Hostel and whatever.
We got torture porn.
Yeah, they got
those type of movies.
It wasn't like to the same degree as we had here.
You're correct. And the thing is with these slashers, we're aware of all of them. Like nowadays, it's different. Like slashers are made, and then there's like fucking 60 freaking low budget direct to freaking shoestring garbage fucking slashers that come out that nobody knows about, right? Back then, I mean, these were low budget, yes, but we seem to know all the titles. Like by now, they've all been released somewhere or they're at least known. So when you hear 50 slashers between like 80 and 83 or whatever it is, you think, wow, that's all they were doing with slashers. It isn't even so much that's all they were doing. It's just that it appears that every slasher became a known quantity, especially 81. Because everyone I just named, these are all known movies. You know what I mean? Everything I've named, what are you going to say? I never heard of I mean, maybe everyone doesn't know about Funeral Home or He Knows You're Alone or something, maybe. Yeah, but
it depends
mostly,
on how deep.
Eyes of a Stranger.
Age of the fan, for sure, will come into play about that. But then, of course, the deep dive that they do go back into historic. How many times have we put out an episode and someone said, I've never checked out that movie before? And sometimes it's like a head scratcher. I'm like, you've never seen this? Oh, awesome. I would love to have that as my first time watch, like to experience that all over again for the first time.
Right, man.
But it's interesting. Or people that think, Halloween is boring and overrated. So, like, I mean, I can understand, like, for certain demographic and from being born in and maybe to go back retrospectively, you can't appreciate it for what it is. And that's why I really am happy with where I am. Because some people can. They can see through it and go, oh, Halloween's an absolute classic, no question. Doesn't matter what time, when you're born or whenever. But I've read things saying Halloween, not just the franchise, but Halloween, the original one's overrated. I don't agree with it, but I can't take it like again, it just depends on what you've grown up with and when you grew up, and if you have the attention span or want to go back and from a historical standpoint and see how we got to where we got.
Well, we're going to see.
If you were going to go from Halloween and take the direct sequel as Halloween 2018, there's a major difference in style, how the movie's created, and everything else. No matter how much they're trying to continue the plot of evil going, I'm just talking about the sheer, like, it becomes like he's an unstoppable monster as he was supposed to be portrayed in the first one. But just from that 40-year gap and all the movies that have come in between, you just can't help but have a different different take and different style and everything else
Right.
involved. And while you were saying all this, it just came to my head. And again, now this would be a cop out, but I'm so sick because you're saying all those movies that are on Tubi, and there's Tubi or whatever, Prime, whatever it may be. There's all these Shudder things that just have movies you've never even heard of. And,
Right.
power to them, they made a movie. Now, a lot of these are shit heaps.
Yeah.
But we keep saying we want to make a movie. We don't. What if we have the one that we're talking about with the script? We have the other one that I'm trying to do up with the laptop one that was always supposed to be it. I've changed it so it's not us as the actors. It's actual other people. So it's kind of like loosely based on us, but it's not the Exploding Head Horror Movie Podcast or a horror podcast movie. It would be a different show, but it's the same structure as what we were talking about before, and it's different people playing the hosts and whatever, but it's the same framework. But what if we just said, they have the 48-hour challenge or whatever, why don't we do a movie with no script whatsoever, but we just try to film something and see what I'm not saying it has to be done in a weekend. I'm saying let's just create something without having any script whatsoever.
I could ad lib till the fucking cows come home, personally.
And just see
but that's
what
me.
We could do with a movie. That'd be interesting to see.
I could do it, but I don't trust Joe Blow to do it. I think, and I'm not to pat myself on the back, I think I'm a capable actor, and I think I'm an even better ad libber. I think I could come up with things on the spot and make all the dialogue you see. Like the way I'm talking to you right now, if you had a camera on me, this would be the same exact way I would be talking to somebody if it was in a movie. That is the easy distinction you have to do. It's little things. It's little things you do with your hands, a little stutter like I just did, emphasis on certain things that when the camera starts to roll, people seem to forget that's how we are naturally. I feel like what I do here, I can translate to fucking anything possible. I think a lot of people can't, and I don't know why. It's always just come easy to me. It's just because I've done little things on camera. I've been in front of the camera for other things before. Even as a kid, I was doing my own things, some other things in college. And people usually remarked about, that they liked the way I came across, that I seem believable. Well, I think I could, but that's me.
And you've always said that. And I think the problem with it is, where I'm going with it is, you structure it so that you have the premise. This is what we want to do. This is the location or the two locations. It's got to be minimal. And it's supposed to take place within a 48-hour time period or 24-hour time period. And we film and go. Now, you want to have a bit of a premise, because obviously if it's a ghost movie, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because we've got to make sure we can make it believable that it's about that. So, of course, the being slasher fans, one of the easier things to fall back on is a slasher film. But sometimes it's interesting to create. It's no different than writing. When you're writing, you're creating and putting it on page, but then you're going and revamping and then revamping and then revamping to get it out there. But what if we were to say, okay, well, we're creating on the fly. Let's see how much sense we can make out of this, so that at the end, you've got a movie, and how sensical is it by the end?
Right.
Because I don't believe it would be any less sensical than a lot of the ones that have come before, or a lot of the ones that are still going to come out. But I guarantee one thing I do think is that it would look and flow better, and we'd be better produced and better presented than a lot of what's out there. Because I look out there and I'm like, holy shit, if this is what it takes, then
right.
Like there's nothing, there's no production value there. And that's
True.
that's you've got to know, like, you've got to know editing, you got to know like how to keep things flowing. But it would be a very interesting project. I guess it would be a 48-hour movie challenge. I don't know if they write the script ahead of time for that, or if everything has to be developed within that time frame. I haven't looked at the credentials of that. But I would be for that. I'd be for that, for sure.
I just don't trust anybody. Hold on, I'm gonna grab something. Hold on, I gotta show you. I don't trust anybody to act. I really don't. I just do not.
Well, it's okay, because most of the acting that's out there right now is subpar as well. And again, I'm not trying to. Subpar is not the. I'm talking to you guys out there, since Dave is taking a little stroll. Subpar is not the goal. Subpar is not the level we want to hit. Obviously, we want to do something else, but it's to get the creative juices flowing. I did this back when I was trying to get that feature started, Desolation, which was supposed to be 2009, 2010 was when we were doing it. So to get me back into creative mode, after working full time, having the kids very young, I did a thing called I Serial Killer. It's out there now. It was ever. I started a channel and everything. It was little vignettes, and I said, how can I create something to just get the creative juices flowing? And it's like the full thing when you put it all together is like a 10-minute piece. It's neither great, or piss poor. It's there. I think it works for what it needs to be. But I mean, I made it, so it's very easy for me to critique my own shit. But ultimately, that was the stepping stone to get Desolation made. Desolation was a lot more ambitious. And of course, then we only did the first 10 minutes and it never went anywhere. I put the first 10 minutes out there and it's okay. I don't know if I really felt like it had it didn't have what I needed it to be to make a feature anyway. If you're your own worst critic, but that one I could see, I don't know if it would have worked the way I did it as a feature. But the goal would be to do something like a 48-hour film challenge or whatever to force us to make a movie.
Okay.
So that you're stuck with what you've got. There's no fixing it. Because when we first started this conversation, I was saying, well, we do it, but we do it and we sort of create it on the fly and we film it over weekends like they did back in the day, and we sort of structure it. Oh, you know what? Well, we've done this. We've got to go back and retool this, but we sort of piece it together as we're going. But 48-hour makes you have to film everything. I think even edit it. I'm not entirely sure, but it's all got to be created. So I'm not saying like if you enter the actual realm of the contest, you have to follow the rules of the contest. But I'm saying we don't necessarily have to go that far, but we have to set deadlines. Okay, we've got 6 hours to come up with the concept and a working draft of, we don't come up with a script, but the working draft of the scenes and the chronology. And now we're going to film Saturday, Sunday, and then I edit and it's done for, a week or two down the road.
I think it's great. I just think you and I should be in it.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay, but that's what gets the creative juices going. And whether we put that out, whether it's just a Patreon thing that we could all view as for fun for all of us and everybody that's fans of the show, so be it. Or whether or not it's good enough to put out, like we can make that decision after. But it's just to get all of us sort of back into a production mode and realm so that we can then get the ball rolling on the actual movie.
I'm down.
So I don't think it's a bad thing either, because
no, we got to talk to B too. He wants to be involved still, he says, which is great. I'm glad he has that, that heart for it. No, forget about it. You're out. You're out either way.
If he does come up in the spring, then at least like that's it. I just want to keep pushing it because I said, but I just think it's good because other than I didn't do a Halloween movie, so other than the 2020 Halloween movie I did with my family, which was very, to be honest, that was structured in the way that I'm talking about. I was at my wife's work July 1st, Canada Day. The theater was closed because of the pandemic, but it was open for them to do skip the dishes orders to do some to get revenue flowing through the theater. My wife was working; she was there by herself. She asked, "You can invite the family in." I'm like, "We have a empty fucking movie theater."
Wow!
But for ourselves, what can I do? So I just started filming Christian. I said, "Okay, do this, do that." Run here, run there, and then we'll make this our horror movie, our Halloween family movie. I'll somehow incorporate it somehow. And I just was like, what can we do here? I'm not saying it makes a lick of sense, but it flows. There's enough flow, that we created on the fly to make it work. Now I'm talking that was a 7-minute movie. There's a bit of a difference between a 7-minute movie and something longer, but I'm saying that's how I'm talking about creating this. There was no script. I created a script for the girls to read some lines to actually to be able to make it into something. And that's sort of what I'm talking about here. Now, obviously, like the premise that's what I'm saying. We start on a Friday, you end on a Sunday. It's got to be like a window of that, or a Thursday to Sunday. And so that it's doable from a timeline standpoint. It doesn't affect us too much from a work standpoint. But the goal would be that we're off doing our thing and, not being bugged by the family unless they're in the movie. And we go and we make this fucking movie.
Why not?
But it's more of a project. It's more of a stepping stone to get everybody on board so that everybody knows really how much goes into it. Because I don't think a lot of people do. you know, and you know, to get we're not going to be Stanley Kubrick doing 200 fucking takes of something. It's going to be like get it in the can and get it going. But as long as I find that I fuck up more when I'm on camera, because I'm so worried about how the camera operates that I end up fucking it up. So I'm all just if I could be off camera and be in it, whatever, so be it. But I've got the apps. I would film it on the iPhone, no question. That's how we would film it. It'd be on the fly, go, go, go.
Hey man, I'm down for whatever. It's fun. It's all
Stepping Stone movie. But I think didn't Lacey and Dan just do the 48-hour movie challenge? I don't know what they could.
I don't even know what that is. So I don't know.
You could get any. Well, it's an actual thing. I think it started from a historical standpoint. I think it started from Dogma 98, 89, 90, something like that. The Dogma style. I think it was before 98 because I think it must have been 80 something or 90. Whereas like it's using the camera you've got, the natural lighting you've got, and you film it over a short period of time. There are actual movies that were made like that. It's almost like guerrilla style filmmaking, like just the fundamentals. Like literally, we've got the premise, we've got the location, we've got the actors. We don't set up for the shots. You have to just use available lighting. So there's a whole structure to it. There's a whole, and I think it stemmed from that, and it became like, okay, let's get this movie done. Let's get this movie made. And I think we've got
any
enough
length.
It could be. I think for the challenge, it could be anything. I don't think it's. I actually think people are making feature-length movies, not in a 48-hour movie challenge. I'm talking about taking that and just doing it. And it doesn't have to be feature-length. Like that's the reality here. This is just to get the juices flowing, to get us all in that creative mode of what it would take to do the actual feature-length one. So, like, I mean, I'm not chained to the idea it's got to be feature-length because that actually could work against us. I'm just chained at like actually doing it so that we can stay true to our word. And I feel like I said, like verbatim here and ad nauseum is where I was going, not verbatim. Ad nauseum, get the creative juices flowing is where I'm going with it. Because it just puts you in that zone. Because if you don't feel empty after you're done, then you're not doing it right. Like after you're filming it and you edit it, you have to feel this emptiness that you're just like, holy fuck, like that just consumed my life for whatever amount of time it was, and it's done and it's out there. And you just feel like, ugh. And I love that feeling. I love and hate it. Because it is a hollow, empty feeling that you just feel, but it's because you've just done something that you're proud of.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So I used to make movies when I was a kid all the time. So I know I should upload more of them fucking things. I got like 12 hours of movies I used to make when I was a kid. All kinds of shit, you know?
That's it.
So, and I did it all.
I'll look into I'll see if Dogma's still around, and I'll look into the 48-hour film challenge or whatever other ones exist. But again, whether we actually enter the competition or whether we just use the guidelines to follow to make our thing and not be an official entry, that's fine.
Right.
I'm good either way.
That's okay, man. I'm down for anything. As long as I got the time, I'm down to play around, to get on and whatever. I'm in. So I wanted to show you something. Look.
Oh, nice. Where'd you get that?
How about made this? I didn't make it.
Custom made?
A listener fucking made it for me and sent it to me. A listener of fucking Jay of the Dead's new horror movies. Because
fuck that show.
She did it. She did it for the other guys. Wow. And then I joined. And then she did it for me. And I got to put her over here. She's on, what do you call it? She's on Instagram at mid.westmonsters. That's her. And she fucking
she just started
doing it a couple years ago. Just one day, fucking just started making them and doing them. And she just made that for me. Sackhead Jason. Fucking amazing, man. Like, this is the stuff I'm going to put up a post. You know what I'm saying? Like, in our books and stuff. Awesome. But look at the stuff she does. You know?
I can see it. It's not as clear. I'm going to have to check her up. That's awesome.
I'll put pictures up. Dude, so good. But she sent that to me. So I wonder, that's amazing, man. Fucking Sackhead Jason thing. I gotta hide it from the other. I can't put it on the top with the other Jason. I did to take a picture, but then I put it on the second shelf because I don't want the cats knocking it over. But it's so good.
It almost looked like a cake when you first brought it out.
I know. It does look like a cake a little.
But
I'm
like, how would she have gotten it to stand like that? It's crazy.
Right. Yeah. Dude, she's
nice
great.
work. Yeah, don't break that fucking thing.
No, sir. No, I won't.
Can you say her name, or was it just her handle?
Oh, her name is Melissa, actually. Her name is Melissa, but that's her handle. I know she's on, what do you call it? She's on Instagram. Yep. So I'm going to put up a thing on the page too.
I'm on Instagram, but I don't have it on my phone, so I'm never on. I mean, I'm signed up, then I deleted my account, and then my daughter had something that I can only promote through Instagram. So I signed up with a new account and tried to promote her shit, and I just deleted it off my phone. So I got an account on there, but I'm not really actively on it.
Oh, well, there's one more thing I want to show you that has to do with that show and me and something cool that happened. But I got to run up and get it. So I'm going to run.
Yeah, I'll run up and I'll tickle the audience's balls with my balls.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean.
I'll be like
Everybody's
minute.
got balls.
Let me limp up the stairs and back. I should have brought it down, but I was rushing because of all the bullshit that happened to me at Tim Hortons.
Don't rush with that foot. I don't want to hear you tumbling down the stairs.
All right, well, keep them busy then. I'll be right back.
Yeah. It's easy. I think you're better at keeping it busy than I am when I'm by myself.
Yeah,
it's like I'm talking to myself again.
Start counting all the movies.
Yeah, honestly, no.
Here's a question. Think about this while I'm gone. I'm going to pose you a question about the Halloween franchise. Okay?
All right, shoot. Go ahead, shoot.
Desert Island. Okay? What are you bringing with you? Which Halloween friggin' choose your own adventure? Are you going to bring 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6? Are you going to bring 1, 2, H2O and Resurrection? Or are you going to bring 1 in the new trilogy? Think about it.
It's very difficult. Holy fuck.
Out loud, and I'll be right back. And you're going to be surprised at my answer.
Okay. This is I've been posed. I haven't been posed this question before, but I've seen it out there, and it's so difficult for me to answer because it's not that difficult actually. I'll just be honest. It's 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. It's crazy, I know, but again, I play nostalgia. I love 1 and 2, and I love 4, and I really like 4. Is I guess what I say. 5, I'm actually a 5 apologist. I love the soundtrack to the movie. I love some of the shit during the day. It's got some good set pieces, but it's goofy as shit, as we all know. And 6 I've warmed up to. Not my favorite, but I've warmed up to it. I'm not a fan of H2O Resurrection, so that one goes all the way out the window, and I don't even care about that whatsoever. Obviously 3 is good, but that wasn't an option there. Now, the downfalls, I really fucking love 2018, and I really like to love kills, and I like ends. So that's difficult too as a sidewinder as well. But I think when all's said and done, it's 1, 2, 4, 5, and 6. And I didn't kill nearly enough time because Dave's not back. So before he started chiming in, he is back. He is back. So mine was 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. Shockingly enough.
I heard, and guess what? Shockingly enough, I agree.
Wow.
And here's
I'm shocked.
I'm shocked too. And I'm shocked too, but this is what it is. Listen, I make this comparison all the time. I would rather take this new trilogy, right, over the Thorn trilogy 4, 5, and 6. No question. I rank them fucking like a 7.5, an 8, and a 7.5. Okay. Yeah. Now I look at 4, 5, and 6. I rank them like a fucking a 5.5, a 5, and a fucking 6.5. So going by that, you would think that I'm going to take the new one, but then you have to add part 2 in, okay? And not just the fact of part 2.
I know they hate it, but
I don't like it either.
I have a problem. I don't
like any of it, but something about, and here's the weird thing. I realize that I like watching modern movies more than I like watching older movies. I look at horror now, and I look at 2000, everything since we've been podcasting. I look at all the shit now, and I hate to say it, but I'm doing 1980 stuff for 22 shots. And as I'm watching these movies, this is what I believe I notice. The 1980s are extremely, this is what I say about the 70s, that they're top heavy for a couple titles, and then they don't have the depth that the modern day films have. Now, I'm not going to say that about the 80s. I'm going to say the 80s, you have maybe 10 fucking excellent films, like a 9 to a 10. But then after that, I don't think you have the depth still that we have in the 2010s and up. I do not think it's there as much. And I've noticed that I just
Kinda makes
happen to
sense.
like.
The 80s
I'm
is
more
a bit
excited.
of a vapid decade when you look at the 80s as overall. But there's some great movies that have come out of that as well.
Oh my God, yes.
Like, as we know, but not
more
just
than
in
ever.
horror, not just in horror. And again, it's no different than music. You know, I've heard this argument recently, and it's true. The music you love is the music you grew up with. It's the nostalgia factor, and
Yes
that's
and no.
always going to become your favorite. And so the movies you love are the movies you grew up with. I'm not saying you can't love anything else, but you just cannot escape that's how you aged, that's how you've matured, that's what you've watched and rewatched and whatever. And whether it be, this is why you have that nostalgia with wrestling as well. It's just what you grew up with.
I
You
love it.
cannot compete with that. I'm not saying you can't appreciate the new stuff, and we have on this. I'm just saying that music is always going to be what we grew up with, which was 80s, 90s more
Well,
so.
see,
It's
okay.
a fantastic decade.
That's fair to say. But I will also say this. If you ask me to name my top 10 bands, I can't say for certain they're coming from the 80s, but I will tell you this. I love everything better about the 80s over the 90s. Everything except one thing. I think music was better in the 90s than it was.
Music was better in the 90s. Yeah.
Okay.
I was agreeing
I
with you
grew
on
up
that.
in
Yeah.
I was born in 72. So
Well,
it's safe to say I grew up in the fucking late 70s and all throughout the 80s. By the time 1990 comes around, granted I'm 17, 18 years old, so I'm still a young buck. You know, I'm young. And
Yeah.
I'm mostly in my
Teenage
20s
years,
and the 90s. But
Yeah.
I think that the music in the 90s just is better overall.
But we're also talking about, you could use that argument of 88 to 94. And again, I'm 14 to 24, whatever it is, like, or 20, sorry.
Yeah, but look at this though. The 60s. Okay, hold on now. Let me think about my bands. If I'm to write down my fucking top 10 bands, and I might have it written down somewhere, and I even have it differently for rap and non-rap. Just give me a second and see. Let me see if I have something written down where I can just fucking, Okay, so here's all these bands. Now, okay, Grateful Dead, The Doors, Fish, The Beatles, Led Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, Nine Inch Nails, Smashing Pumpkins, Oasis, U2, Public Enemy, Beastie Boys. Anyway, bottom line is this.
No Stones.
A whole bunch. I love the Stones, but it's not on the level of those bands. But what I'm saying is I'm looking at all these things here. And I noticed that most of them are, okay, like the Beatles are it's 1A and 1B now, honestly. Beatles and Fish are my favorite. So, okay, Fish has been around since fucking 88. They're a modern band, but let's call them a 90s band. Whatever, but they're still great. But then after that, you got The Doors, you got the Grateful Dead, you got Led Zeppelin, you got Pink Floyd. That's all fucking 60s and 70s. I grew up in the fucking 80s and 90s.
Hey, I love Rolling Stones. I love Pink Floyd. Like, I mean, I'm saying the same thing, but again, it's the music you listen to. I mean, maybe it's a cop-out, my excuse. I'm not saying maybe it didn't have to be released there, but you were exposed to it. And when you're exposed to it at that age, that's what you're going to be. So I guess maybe it's exposure is what I meant to say. Exposure at that 14 to 20 or 12 to 20 year age is what you're going to say is the best music. So this generation is going to say Drake is their favorite artist, and Drake will carry over.
But here's the funny thing. They don't know anything about old school hip hop. Like, I talk to people that are younger folks that listen to all that shit, and it's like, hey, let me sit down and talk to you about KRS-One and fucking Chuck D and Big Daddy Kane and Rakim and all these other MCs and they'll say, I've heard that song and I've heard this song, but I haven't sat down and listened to a whole thing. I go, you gotta listen to this album and this album. You gotta listen to fucking and I tell them all this stuff.
Listen to albums.
They just that too, but they haven't sat down and listened to these artists' stuff. They just haven't. It's just, which is odd when it comes to rap music, where in other stuff, it seems like they always listen to older shit. Like metalheads will listen to stuff from older metal. They'll listen to some Sabbath on up. They'll check it out. You know what I mean? Same thing with just other kinds of music, like rock and roll. They'll listen to some other stuff, alternative. They'll go back and they'll listen. You'll take different like genres of music, but something about like modern rap, if you didn't get into it until like the 2000s, for some reason, a lot of them don't go back and listen to the old stuff. Don't know why.
I think it's because it's different. I listen to new stuff now. I'm like, wow, this is what evolved
now.
out of. Well, that's what I think. It doesn't.
But it does.
It seems like a different a different evolution. I don't know. It's just not for me. But I mean,
Nobody's MCing.
I got out of
Nobody's
it.
rapping.
I liked rap back in the day.
They told stories back then. They had beats. They had
Eminem.
samples. They scratches. They had everything. Now it's just fucking. It's all empty. It's like everything since the 2000s. It's my favorite word to use, but it's soulless. There's just no fucking soul in anything anymore. And this is not a critique of somebody that happens to be a certain age. You can sit down and discuss it and say, hey, listen to what they were doing here and listen to what's going on here. And somebody that can objectively listen to both can say, oh, yeah, I see what you're talking about. This guy here is spitting lyrics and he's doing this and this and they're talking about this and this is happening. And over here, they're just kind of doing the same thing here and they're doing auto-tune and fucking a chorus and fucking and singing and they're not really rapping about anything. Where back here, it's just different. But, yeah. But no, so how do we get on about the age? Oh, so 4, 5, and 6. Two carries it for me. But even though I don't like 4 and 5 all that much, I could just as easily sit down and watch 4, 5, and 6 as I can the new trilogy. Even though I like new movies more, it seems something about watching modern fucking slashers, modern movies like that, modern franchise movies like this Halloween thing, I won't have as much fun watching Halloween 2018 Kills and Ends as I will watching Halloween 4, 5, and 6. Even though I think the new ones are better and I rate them higher, I don't even want to say I enjoy 4 and 5 because I don't I rate them low and there's shit that angers me about them and stuff, but I don't know. It's hard to explain. Maybe it's Loomis being there.
See, I do like 4. I do like 4.
Right.
And it was always my favorite sequel. It was actually my favorite sequel for a bit until, like, it was always between 2 and 4. And then 2018 came out and I'm like, oh, no, that's up there too. But I mean, I'm with you. I mean, I had like the new one, 18 was a 9. I think it was 8.5 and then it's 7 for the 3 newer ones. But I mean, I have part 2 at a 9 and I think I have part 4. I think I go between a 7 to an 8 when I watch. And I think I would say that I have to say overall, it's still an 8. I don't care if he has shoulder pads. I don't care if his mask looks wonky. His mask still looks shit times better than it does in H2O. That is the worst of the worst. And people keep forgetting and go, you can't judge a movie based on the mask. I get it. You can't. But that's just one aspect of that movie that I do not like of H2O.
Well, come on. 5? 5 is the worst mask by far.
And it's funny. I know. I'm a part 5 apologist. I said it when you ran upstairs.
I don't hate it.
It has good set pieces. I love the score. Yeah, I hate the Hermit.
But the mask.
But if you're going to argue about the Hermit and him being in a hermit's hut for a year and not complain about him being in a fucking sewer for 4.
Agreed. Right.
I also had another thing I want to bring up that I know we're running out of time, but I just have to say this. With the new Jeepers Creepers that comes out, I have no interest to see it, but that's because I don't care. Nothing to do with Victor Salva per se.
I didn't see 3 either.
No fucking interest in seeing it. Does not interest me at all. I'm not a big Jeepers Creepers fan. However, all the people that say, I'm not watching this because it's made by so-and-so. I hope to hell then you do not watch a Woody Allen movie. I hope to hell you don't watch any Weinstein films. So don't watch The Burning and say it's the best film ever. Then take The Burning off your watch list and take any Quentin Tarantino film that was produced by the Weinsteins then off your list. So fuck you because you're a hypocrite because I guarantee you they're not doing that. And I'm brushing everybody with that same stroke there. I guarantee it's just because now I'm not saying it's not on maybe it's not on equal plane level, but he still did shitty things to people, Victor Salva or Harvey Weinstein.
And everyone else who hasn't been caught yet. And everyone else who what they say in the comfort of their own home as to what they let the world actually hear and what they sell the world are 2 different things. So if you want to just paint everybody with that, then you're going to be painting yourself into a corner.
You can't watch them. I'm not saying you can't watch them. I'm saying if you have that argument for one, the argument's for everybody then. So then, no Tarantino for you.
What about music? You can go down that route.
No R. Kelly about music. You.
Everybody. Well, not just R. Kelly. Everybody. Everybody fucking fucked underage girls in the fucking 70s and the 80s. It's a fact.
No one
it is a fucking fact. They were groupies. Yeah. They were fucking underage. They did it, and they sang about it. They talked about 16-year-olds because they still could.
Ask Gene Simmons about his numbers. Ask Motley Crue.
Right.
Ask the Guns. Like it's not right. It's never. It's not.
I'm not
saying it's right, But it's saying
Right.
exactly it happened, and nobody fucking talks about that. But and again, maybe this is convicted. I know the Weinstein trial's only starting, so maybe we have to go by conviction or whatever. Maybe that's the proper thing. But I think it's pretty safe to say that like unless there's something that there's a technicality like Freddy Krueger that Harvey's not going to be coming out of this clean. But again, I'm not again guilty. I mean, innocent to proven guilty, as opposed to how we seem to judge everybody by this side. I'm just saying, if you use that argument for one, I think then you have to continue it through. So their movie watching lists and music listening lists should be significantly lower because of that.
Oh my gosh.
It just burns me when people use it for one, but will somehow be okay with the other aspect of it.
Well, that
that's
sounds
okay.
like
That wasn't kids. This was kids, and that's just all these women. And some of them, that's okay.
That's the same thing that people do with politics and religion. They cherry pick. They cherry pick things out of the Bible that they want to use, and they ignore the shit that they don't want to talk about. And they do the same thing with politics. When their side does the exact same thing the other side does, they don't seem to have a problem, and they can find a way to rationalize it. It's utter freaking nonsense, and it sucks. But here's something good.
Sorry,
Look at this.
I just had to
go on to something
get
good.
that off my chest.
No, buddy, I'm with you. You don't got to sell me on that. So look at this. Okay.
Ooh, yeah.
That's the new Fangoria. Hellraiser. Okay.
Nice.
Blah, blah, blah. But check this out. I'm so happy about this. This means a lot to me because of what the magazine is, and you know what it means.
Oh, yeah. I remember you. I know where you're going with this. So this is cool. I think I know. You mentioned this on the show.
I took a picture. I'm going to put it online. I just haven't had the time. Page 77. Look at this. Oh, can you see? Hold on.
Well, I don't know, the way you're fucking showing me, I can't.
Hold on. Okay.
Yeah. The gold standard of horror movie podcasts.
You see it?
Look at that. Yep. That's pretty sweet, man.
You see
Mr.
my name?
Watson, you got to shoot it the other way for the angle I'm seeing. Yeah. Awesome, man.
Amazing.
That is cool. I don't like the gold standard. This is the gold standard, but that's okay. That's okay. But everything else about it is fantastic.
As good as I am at marketing, this guy can match me here, Jay. Obviously, he fucking knows how to do it. He knows how to host. He knows how to advertise. But my name is in a Fangoria. That fucking means so much to me. It makes me so happy. He sent this. He fucking gets the advertisement, and then he goes out of his way to fucking send this to the host, the magazine.
I don't know why
He's
I didn't
awesome.
like this guy. He sounds great.
He's a fucking sweetheart.
I'm joking.
Yeah.
I'm just being a dick. No, that's awesome.
I know.
That is sweet. I know you mentioned it was going to be there, and it's cool
so
to
happy
see the ad.
It's just
and
exciting
I'm kidding
for
about the
me.
gold standard, of course.
Whatever.
It's 9
But
fucking
so
hosts.
It's just exciting. Well, it's a great concept, man. Listen to it and see. You know?
I'm coming up with 10 hosts, 10 female hosts.
Listen to the Halloween Ends review, if nothing else, because people are giving feedback on that, and you know they're really digging it. So listen to that one, if nothing else. I know it's a hard show to listen. They're long and they're different ones. Listen to that one, Halloween Ends, because we have a discussion. Because there's like two people that like it, me and Jay. There's like two or three people in the middle, and there's like two or three that fucking hate it. So and this is the discussion that's happening on the show, and it's pretty good stuff.
Does Watson hate that one, or is he middling?
Watson's in the middle.
Yeah.
Since the only ones that loved it were me and Jay. They really liked it. I'm not saying I love it, but
I love it.
And here's what I'm sick of. I'm fucking sick of everybody talking. I'm sorry. I'm sick of everybody talking about fucking about Corey and fucking Allison on a bike. Literally, that is less than 2 minutes of the movie, and everyone's acting like we saw fucking 45 minutes of it. How about fuck you? Sit on it. I'm fucking. You're gonna isolate the fucking less than 2 minutes. Yeah.
What was that? What's the line from Nightmare on Elm Street?
Sit on it and rotate. Do they say that Nightmare on Elm Street?
No, what is it? Up yours? No, up yours with the twirling lawnmower.
Right, exactly. Up yours with a twirling lawnmower. Right.
Twirling lawnmower.
But still, why do they focus on fucking 2 minutes just because the girl is on the back seat of a bike? They find that to be the fucking oh ho ho ha ha ha. Oh my God, they're riding on a motorcycle together in a Halloween movie.
I mean, the only answer I've got is the answer I've used a couple times during this show too. People are assholes.
Yeah, basically.
What
if that same scene would have happened in Halloween 2018 or Kills and they loved it? and they had 2 minutes of them riding on a bike. Would they have centered on that? I don't think so.
I don't.
How about
I don't
this
know.
one? Somebody put up a picture of something of Michael. And it's people we love actually too. It's listeners. But I was joking on. But somebody said something about they put up a picture of them meeting somebody just in a Michael outfit at a fucking what do you call it? I think Liz and Catherine and somebody were on there. But someone put up a picture of fucking somebody meeting someone dressed in a Michael thing at a fucking con. And then someone said,
Corey?
"Oh, is that Michael or Corey?" Yeah. So what did I responded? I said, "Well, I go, don't forget, it could be Buster Rhymes or fucking Polish Loomis or Turkish Loomis."
Polish.
I know. I said it again. I got laughed at there too. I keep saying Polish. Polish Loomis. Good God.
Polish Loomis.
People forget that fucking Buster Rhymes fucking wore a Michael Myers fucking outfit and a mask.
Every movie you could go by, everybody was dressing up as like Michael Myers in Halloween 2, 4, 5. I mean, if you didn't have someone dressing up as Michael Myers that wasn't Michael Myers in the film, it wasn't a Halloween film.
You're right. Hold on. Let's think about this. Part 2 is Ben Tramer, right?
Ben Tramer, at least.
Ben Tramer.
Then we got part 4. They have all those guys. Remember
those kids.
When Loomis sees all of them?
Yeah. You're
and
right.
And in part 5, you got Skid or whatever the fuck his name is, Scuzz. Whatever that guy's name is.
Oh,
yeah.
Like, oh, you're right. Okay,
yeah,
so him.
Guy.
Okay, what about 6? Did Dr. Wynn ever put the outfit on? Or fucking Loomis? Maybe not.
Maybe that's the only one that might not have anybody else dressed as Michael Myers. Of that I'm going to
make a list now. I'm going to make a list of everyone that did. And anytime someone makes that critique online going forward about, hey, is that Michael or Corey? I'm going to say, or it could be boom, 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 and boom. How about that one? List.
And I still, since this is the Halloween episode and we barely did anything Halloween-y, I will still, we're running long, so this will be wrapping it up. I still think that the true timeline, I still think they could have done 1, 2, 2018, and the new ones. I really do think they could have somehow, they practically retconned it anyway by throwing in the joke, hey, wasn't she your brother? Oh yeah, that rumor was, they make a joke of it. And I know that they're just doing the evil. They could have easily tried to fix that whole brother-sister aspect, because the terror that goes from her going from her to the hospital to then more people getting killed and her stalked more would make her more the warrior woman that she is in the 2018 one than just her being terrorized that one night at the house. I still believe that.
Yeah, but here's the deal.
I know that they were trying to right the wrong that Carpenter said. I wish I never wrote.
Not even that. Even just that. Not even just that. I don't think they wanted to do another H2O. Yeah. Strictly because they did that in H2O and they focused on it in H2O. They said, well, we want to do something different where people aren't fucking saying, oh, they've already done that with H2O. Well, not exactly, because in H2O, all we cared about was the brother-sister angle. In this one, we're completely ignoring it. So you can take that critique and shove it out the window. That I really think that was the honest. If they didn't do that thing, that would have been. But then again, it also makes it seem like he only killed the few people that he did kill in 78, as opposed to this machine. And now we have the mystery of it, of him just escaping, and now he's not that big of a deal. He could be overlooked. Where if somebody went on this legendary,
they do keep him as a deal, because that's the whole premise of the new one of F18.
Not at first, though.
The podcasters going in and like, oh, we got his mask and everything like that. Like, again, the power of all of that. To be honest, the power of all of that is because we had Halloween 2, 4, 5, 6, H2O, Resurrection. I'm going to say them all. Rob Zombies 1 and 2. We have all of that weight in moviedom and in from film history to give the weight to who Michael Myers is and to make the podcast in. Whereas really, if you're just going from one to that, it's hard because you're trying to erase reality and what we've experienced. There's not as much weight there. I know they try to create that weight, but it's just not as much. And I think even just keeping them, I always say the crazy that she sort of is, or the level of survivalist that she is in 2018 would have made more sense with the weight of the terror of the first two movies combined. But that's what fair. We got. It's all we've got. It's always been sort of my critique of the new ones, but I get it. They wanted to kind of take it from what Carpenter Imagine was saying. I damn wish that I didn't write them as siblings and whatever and undermine the evil. And maybe that would have undermined it. But they, again, I'm saying recon it, make them not brother and sister. Say it was, I don't know where that came from. There was like a form here, technicality. Maybe that's bullshit, but they're rewriting it anyway. They've rewritten this thing 1,000 times over. So who gives a fuck at this point?
I agree.
But
I agree.
Anyway, that's my final take. It doesn't take away from my enjoyment of the last three.
I wanted to bring something else about Halloween. I watched some for the first time the other night with commercials because it came out in 1985, and it's that TV movie, The Midnight Hour. I finally watched it.
Oh, I watched that because I think it was a movie that I thought that scared the shit out of me as a kid. And I was trying to, I only remember images. And one of the movies was, I thought it was a Sentinel, but it was actually Let's Scare Jessica to Death. I found out that was one of the movies that I was looking for. That scared the shit out of me as a kid. I just remember some images that freaked me out. And then the other one I think was The Midnight Hour.
Okay. Well, it's on YouTube with commercials or without. I watched them with commercials because it was the 80s and it almost looked like a VHS rip still. So we had fun watching it. It added to the whole atmosphere of it. And man, I mean, it wasn't the greatest movie. It was very TV and it was kind of fun and something didn't make sense to me or any of us. But still, it's a good watch for something new to watch in October. You know what I mean? With friends too.
Awesome.
If you get that. So that's cool. And one more thing. The list is shaping up. The top 200 is coming in.
Woo.
We have a bunch coming in, and we have at least 210 with ratings over 100. So it's not going to be any problem coming up with this list at all. Even 100 pretty soon, I think if I still go, we're only going to end up having like maybe there's going to be some movies that are in triple digits that aren't even going to make the list. So we are getting a lot of it.
Or there's always going to be surprises, but is the top 10 a surprise to you?
Is the top 10 a surprise to me? I'm going to look at it in right now based on what I have here. I wouldn't say a surprise, but there are movies that I may not. Of course, you're going to say, "Oh, that's exactly a surprise." I'm going to say that because of the name of the movie. All I'm going to say is this: I didn't think that there's a couple movies there that I thought would not be in the top 10. However, they're well-known movies. I just didn't know that a couple of them were going to have the love that they have. I would say that 8 out of 10, not even, hold on. I would say 7 out of 10, I would have assumed were going to be there, but in 3, no.
Interesting.
So, yeah, maybe even 6 out of 10.
You know what it is? There are a lot of sequels that I love that I'll probably watch, and I watch them religiously, like Halloween 5 and 6. They're nowhere near my list, of course. They're not going to be on my list. But so I was trying to be very, very cautious of what sequels I put on my list. Like I love Friday the 13th. I think 3 of them show up on my list. You know what I mean? And even that was hard to. I almost felt that was hard to not justify, but I needed them represented. But and only 2 Halloween films.
Yeah.
Funny enough, and so I'd say that I left a lot of 9 out of 10s off the list for sure. And
sure,
so there were some, and then I even looked at my list again after I sent it to you. I'm like, holy shit! I just rewatched this, and it's not on my list. It probably should have been, but again, I give it a 9 out of 10, and I ended up booting it off. But it's shocking.
It worked for me because I have so many 9 out of 10s that somewhere left off the list. Everything I have is a 9 or higher. So I just had to do it. And I went back and forth with some and some sequels and whatnot. I won't say anything else. I'll save it all for that big show. And then we got to figure out how we're going to do that big show. And maybe we're going to put out some polls to you guys on what the future of the show is going to be. And what do you guys think we should do? Should we stay the 2 of us? Should we have occasional thirds?
Yeah.
Or
your input will be listened to and then immediately squashed and disregarded.
Oh man, should we begin having BS shows again with a what do you call it? With a third when we do it, a different third each time. I don't know. We got ideas.
We'll play around with it.
Yeah, one thing at a time. We got to get through this month. So, thanks for bearing with us, and you know, happy Halloween. You know, hope everybody's
happy
safe.
Halloween, everybody.
enjoys themselves, and I guess we got to be out. So, oh, look at that. We got a 12-second recording at the end because it just went over the thing.
Of course.
What a way to end it. Unbelievable. Well, it's
Yeah.
a short video, so hello, goodbye. We love you.